Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I'm Ashtarothi, and this is a special episode on Saturday. I have ideas about the regular show, but I just wanted to do this with Arataka Research Consortium doing this today, so I wanted to do a quick stream with them. Obyswan, how's it going? I do love that 07 emote. Obyswan. Yeah, I know how to say it. I think that's awesome. Yeah, I think everybody should get 07s. Like I said, whenever anybody subs to my show, it's like everybody gives 07s. Everybody's 07s. It shows you're an Eve streamer. All right. I am I currently have, I think, my audio muted, so that way you don't hear comms, but I will bring you guys in. All right, I'm going to let the stream hear you guys now.
Oh no, they're gonna hear our deepest, darkest secrets.
Oh no. Hey, Ash.
Wait, we have secrets? Why wasn't I informed we have secrets?
Don't tell them about the pink suns.
Those are the best sons.
Or the red dot of dead.
Okay, so I know for a fact that we have new people in fleet today.
Fun fact, I have never done this before.
Yeah, you are one of them.
I feel like you've done this like years ago.
I have never done this before. Actually, prior to the Abyss, Ashtarothi had never fired at a drifter because secretly she was hoping that they would be able to be worked with.
Yeah, she's not alone there. We have a couple of people who,
hope springs eternal.
Well, trying to be friends.
Well, at least now we know Dark's Noobdar is working correctly.
No, well, I knew Ashtarothi. One of my court mates, Rolf, is also new, so I'll have to go over it for everybody. Let's see. We have Counselor and Isaac still in Amar.
I'm in Amar. Where am I supposed to be?
2.
Oh.
I'm a couple of jumps out from there, Dark.
Per the fleet MOTD. 2.
Oh, I see.
Come on, Ash. I told you beforehand that it would be in the MOTD of the fleet. Let's go.
I figured that. Never mind. I didn't put 2 and 2 together.
It's okay.
I was throwing together my stream. Excuses.
We had 3 systems within 5 jumps today.
Oh,
nice.
Huh. Bob smiles on us.
So we had plenty of options. This was just the best one.
Which one is it?
2.
Warp drive active.
2.
2 sounds like medieval.
You should put down a structure there called Site 2.
We know which system it is?
Yes. It's in
You
the
can also
MOTD.
call it 2.
It is both 2 and in the MOTD. And between those two, if you can't figure it out, then I'm not sure what we can do by saying it anymore. Oh.
I was talking about the Hive system.
The what?
The Hive system today will be Redoubt.
Are we doing 1?
Just 1.
Okay.
So, for those of you who have not done one of these before, this is fairly straightforward. We are going to warp to a beacon because the wormholes are dead space on both sides. We're going to assess the situation on the wormhole. There may or may not be drifters, as they like to hang out there. We will then go to the wormhole. The wormhole is, like I said, dead space. The beacon's about 80 km off of it. So we're going to have to burn to it, and then we're going to jump it, and then we're going to align to the static complex in the Hive system of Redoubt. It's not called Redoubt. The name of the Hive is Redoubt. And then we're going to run the site. For that, you're going to want tags on your overview if you don't already have them. I will be tagging gates and drifters if needed. The order for the drifters is to orbit at your set ranges. I have discussed the special teams, and if you are not on the special teams, then your orbit is 3,000 or more. Drifters. To identify a drifter, the type will be Drifter Battleship. The name will either be Hekanta Tyrannos, Apollo Tyrannos, or Artemis Tyrannos. So you have to actually read both. You're not going to shoot it. You are not. You can web it. You could track and disrupt it. No shooting. Until you hear the command, pop drifter. The reason for that, the Guardians and the Vigilant have to get set up. We are dodging the Doomsday. We are making them miss. And we don't want to set it off early because Artemis and Apollo have a 640k perfect Omni Alpha strike of death and destruction. As they do. And then Hikanta, I think, is like 700k.
Yeah, it's
Makes
like
lovely
1.5 times the damage, I think. Same with its DPS, funny enough, but they're never around long enough for that to matter much.
Fun fact: the opening of my show shows one of those Doomsdays cracking a golem.
Yes,
From the old from that old trailer.
the
Good times.
Marauders used to be able to do it, but with the change on how the Bastion module gives you a timer and you can't refit with that timer, means it's really, really hard for a Marauder to both simultaneously tank it and rep the normal DPS. The normal DPS, by the way, is 1,000 for Apollo and Artemis. Perfect Omni again. So you can't cheese tank it. Cheese tanking is not allowed.
There is an X for the fleet in consortium operations.
Ooh, it's Esgarg. Okay, sure. Yep. Bring all the parts, Isaac.
Okay.
I want to say it's 300k for the Doomsday range. So trying to outrange them will not work.
Yeah, but
Also,
then you can shoot it.
their optimal is 150 km with 150 km fall off. So again, trying to outrange them is not
possible.
More.
I mean, you could do it, I guess, if you had something tracking disrupt it, but
The thing that's important to understand is that Airtaka in particular, but the player base as a whole has been fighting these drifters for quite some time. And for a long time, CCP continually adjusted the drifters to compensate for any strategies that became too powerful. So all of those little cheesy techniques that you can think of, guess what? They're designed to counter them.
If I'm remembering correctly, the majority of the people coming up with those little things to do were Dark Zero and also Cineal, I think.
Yeah.
Yep. They also have a 500 km 5 strength warp disruptor. So if there's two of them, you can never escape. Except by either killing them or dying, one of the two. Let me hit the fleet refresh. We've got Esgarg. Esgarg, your Desto is in the MOTD. Okay, so for Esgarg's sake, you're going to need tags on your overview if you don't already have them. I'm sure you've got your overview set for both type and name, because drifters are type battleship named Apollo or Artemis or Hikanta Tyrannos. You're going to orbit the drifters and not shoot them if you first see them, unless you're on the wormhole. We're going to go into a wormhole, so I hope you're either empty or specifically known to have implants for this. Most of you should be empty. The special teams should not be. Dead space.
I have a 3%. I've already written it off. It was either that or destroy 3%.
Drift drones. The only ship in here that should have drones are the Guardians and the Vigilant. I guess technically the Damnation and the Stardate, but I'm not using them. And they should be on passive because no killing the drifters early. They have Doomsdays. It hurts a lot before we're set up. We got to get set up first, and then we kill it. The command for that will be Pop Drifter. Got that, Esgarg? Okay, 3%. That's close. Good enough. Generally, you're not going to die. Gates. We'll be taking acceleration gates. If you're a Confessor, it's recommended you should be in defense mode while we take the gates. After that, speed or sharpshooter. As you see fit. Drifters, you should have them in defense mode, but again, if you like to fly dangerously, feel free. It is entirely up to you to fly not defensively. But I highly recommend orbiting at 3,000 or more. I mean, you could sit there at not 0. I will yell at you if you're at 0. I'm also not incompetent, so I can track the beams if I find out that you're shooting the drifter intentionally. And then we'll shoot you if you don't stop. Tags. I'll tag the gates. I'll tell you to go to them. Feel free to kill everything on the way. Designated looter. Do we need one today?
Sure.
All right. Uriel. It'll be Uriel.
What's up?
You're going to be the designated looter. Cruisers and up.
Gotcha.
Don't disappoint me.
That's a high request.
Yeah, well.
Talk less,
At
loot
least,
more.
at least try. Make an effort. Let's see. What else? We have everybody except Esgard. Esgard's moving this way right now.
This isn't
So.
science because hold on. Yeah.
This
isn't science. This is a very well established fleet. We're just going with I'm going with Arataka Research Consortium to go see it for myself. So I guess it is science for me because I've never done it before.
Really? No questions.
You were pretty comprehensive in your explanation, I think.
Hey, no meaning. Thank you for that. 500
Pull
bits.
something up.
High five. One of these days, when I get time, I'm going to work on my bot. And I really want to do a thing that makes it so that you can like cheer bits to like broadcast like a specific kill mail or something.
Not on the maps, but for the most part, as long as you follow instructions and don't derp about, this will go fairly straightforward. Oh,
all right, no problem.
Leroy.
Yes, if you take a gate early, before I tell you to, I want you to give us a nice hearty Leroy Jenkins on comms.
I mean,
hearty.
Well, that's now a reason to do it.
Yeah, that too. Basically, I don't want a lame Leroy Jenkins as you take the gate. No. It has to be a nice, good one.
What's up, the great Kinsey?
Something where your neighbors wonder what's going on.
What group are you with,
Yes.
Kinsey? I can't remember.
And then afterwards, let us know
Which
if there's
rabbit
a
hole?
drifter on the other side of the gate.
Wait, what?
Before you die.
What rabbit hole?
Preferably before you die.
What's happening? Oh, drifter and tricks.
Any
Oh
other
gosh.
questions?
Oh, it's crazy, man, ain't it?
We have 15 real people.
Oh.
So.
Aha.
We're gonna need 2 trips, 1 up each side.
Look,
there are 2 sides.
I think that you're putting way too much
This
like
will take
credit on the
about 2
Jove,
to
and I'm
3
not sure if I buy the whole like
approximately.
there was a Jove before the Jove.
We'll be taking a short break.
It's pretty
right
famous
in the
that the Jove were actually
because,
relatively
sometimes
low
you just gotta get up
technology
and
during
take a
that
piss.
time. It's why they had to become the sleepers.
Yeah. Everybody is here. So, with that, everybody undock.
We mentioned broadcasts.
You should broadcast, yes, but we have exactly 16 people, which
But
means the logic.
The idea of a conspiracy of that time is very much alive and well.
However,
but
you
I
should
would target the
definitely
Yanyong or
broadcast
the Talakan.
And
We're talking over each other. Hold on.
specify your name. So Dark Zero needs reps, not just I, because I need reps. I don't think that's a character name that's been taken yet. And if it has, they're not in fleet.
In Mimmo, we say, I is that a Marion guy?
Yes. So.
You can also set your broadcast shortcuts in the navigation. Wait, is it? Yeah, navigation tab of the shortcuts menu. And in the general tab, there is a broadcast radial menu, which if you use in space, you can use to broadcast armor, shields, or capacitor.
Okay, I'll have to leave in about an hour and a half. That's fine. At least you let me know in advance. Sven.
That is a good question.
Yes.
How long is
Undock.
this process in total?
This whole fleet.
Yeah.
This should take about 2 to 3 hours.
Okay, cool. I do have my son, so hopefully I can juggle all that.
Okay.
But he's been good for that amount of time before.
Okay.
Understood.
Okay, now that everybody's undocked and everybody's here, there's a broadcast aligned to unidentified wormhole beacon. If y'all would please align over to it.
Oh, but I liked my name. All right. What's up?
All right, it kind of looks like everybody's aligned. So here we go.
Warp drive.
Where's my set name? There it is.
That was good timing with the bird in the background.
Ariel, is that your bird?
Oh yes. She
Bird's
is
feeling chatty today.
talkative. Let me know if it gets to be too much.
I assume that was our mascot at this point.
That's not the one I'm worried about
Oh,
talking
look,
too
drifters.
Ouch.
Just chill.
Yeah, I think that
Relax.
you're.
Sit here.
If you
Stare
pay
at them.
attention, it might be very close to being
Nobody move.
like
Nobody dies.
what you could think about
Yeah.
when it comes to
think
the
how
Talakan
close
and
do
the
you have to get
Yanyo.
before they actually start messing with you.
I think it's
Oh, they're
50.
gone anyhow.
All right, everybody approach the wormhole. Approach the wormhole. Prop mod, speed mode. Let's go.
Cap chain, guys.
Long live skill farts. Hell yeah.
I was already working on it.
The sleepers are Jovians. Like they literally are Jovians. Vathrak, thank you for joining us down the rabbit hole, Steve Online. How? What? I don't understand.
I say cap chain.
That's a fast prophecy. I'm not sure if I'm okay being outrun by a prophecy, I ain't gonna lie.
You should be because I'm MWD and you're Afterburner, and that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it does, but
It still feels kind of weird.
I really want to overheat my afterburner.
All right, everybody who was close enough now gets the boost.
Nice.
So everybody gets to go a little bit faster. I forgot that I had unloaded it and I needed to reload it.
Best tip for a noob: always use a buddy
So
code.
the drifters
Find
have
a good
timer
good
of about
organization.
30 minutes or so.
Don't let anybody tell
So,
you how
every
you
30
you
minutes
should
they
play the
will
game, but
either
find
come
somebody
out
that'll
of the
help
wormhole
you
or go
do
back
what you want to
into
do.
it. Yeah, it's a little bit funky
Focus
on
on
that part,
learning, not
since
ISK.
they came out and went back into it at the same time, but in about 30 minutes they'll come back out.
Join the consortium if you need. Join the convocation of Empyreans if you need
Also,
any help.
inside the hive, there is a shift change. The
Eve Academy.
Autochrysian Lancers rotate every 6 minutes randomly, and the Drifters rotate every 30 minutes randomly. So they may just spontaneously show up on us. So just be aware of the fact that they may show up while we're in the middle of a room that was previously
If you need a buddy
safe.
code, you can use that link to get one. Or you can use that link to use mine, I should say.
And I think everybody's here, so everybody take the wormhole. Take the wormhole, take the wormhole, take the wormhole.
Does prop matter here?
Of course, no, do not use prop mods.
Okay.
It's preferred if you
Prop
don't,
does
but
matter.
most of you have afterburners, so
Yeah.
you should have it off at that point. But even still, if all of us had our prop mods on, there's still enough mass for us to get back out. Or alternatively, I have other holes out, so bookmark the wormhole.
Fair enough. I'm just learning. More reading. Have you checked out the
I like
Precursor
this
Crisis
wormhole. It's a Welfare so it
guide
will
that I have?
be very good for us.
Yes, this is the easier
Yeah.
one for us because sig reduction and armor buff The harder one is Conflux because Pulsar and
Okay.
therefore Sig buff and armor reduction.
Yeah.
And everybody should be in, so broadcasting a line 2.
Heard
And
that
then-
is a fun one.
On my YouTube,
If you would please align.
on my YouTube is a Precursor Crisis playlist, which is 2.5 hours
Get this
or 2
party
hours or
started.
whatever of videos from CCP and Airtalker Research Consortium that feed into this subject.
I think everybody's aligned except for me because I'm bad at my job.
Cap chain, Isaac.
Unknown anomaly. That's kind of cool.
So the sites themselves are dead space, so you cannot just randomly warp in. So
And this is
once
just
you're
a
in,
flotilla.
you're generally safe from probers.
07.
It's not to say that they can't, start following the
I
site, but
I
the
don't
few
disable
that have
any of those
tried
messages
inside get
because
lost.
I have ADHD
Like,
and
literally,
whatnot. Like
they've
it just
overshot us.
I-
they've taken
I
the
let
wrong
those things stop me,
gates.
and I always check them, and that's just
So,
a policy of mine. It's the only thing
here's
that
the gate.
protects me.
Tagged Gulf. Everyone approach it. Prop mods on. That's not to say that it's like the safest place, but it's fairly safe.
Hey, Darren the Druid, thank you for joining us down the rabbit hole, Chief Online. Yep, I'm perfectly happy to hit OK.
Doing
The only,
the
in fact, the
seasonals
one
has
I
made me
died
feel
to an
more
Edencom
antagonistic
checkbox
towards
the other day,
Damnation's whole-
and you know what? It was my fault for not
Damn
being ready to
chickens.
check it.
The silver chicken
Yeah.
is here. Have no
I've had a lot
fear.
of fun with these event sites so far.
Same.
I just keep doing them, trying to find skins now because I'm well done with them. But
I was having fun
Nice.
with them, and then Intaki
Yeah.
fell, so now I'm in the war zone.
yeah, honestly, you can make good money on these sites. I'm surprised.
I made about 3 billion
Nice.
in just doing high sec sites.
Yeah, just ISAC. Wow.
Yep. I mean, if somebody wants to borrow my Cyber Fleet issue, I have it in Heck. I'm not using it right now.
I have mine over there somewhere too.
But yeah, I mean, like I brought out my 10-in-1 pod, which is my Asclepian turret pod, and
Oh yes.
had that Cyber Fleet issue, and I basically lost like one contest the entire time to a VNI that
Very
I was in
nice.
position for.
All right, everybody's on the gate. Take 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 it.
Warp drive active.
You want us in defensive mode now, right? Or no?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to be.
Oh,
Lancers,
Couple of
no
Lancers.
drifters. So
Is it me or did they fix the borders of acceleration gates recently?
they
yes.
did.
That's nice to see.
All right, everybody, approach gate alpha. Gate alpha. Gate alpha. Gate alpha. Gate alpha. Prop mods on. Shoot the things. Or don't, and just broadcast for reps and face tank them. Either way.
Just to double check, does it make sense that the Guardian has a micro warp drive?
The what?
The Guardian has a micro warp drive.
You're killing me.
That's
I said
not
you were
good.
supposed to refit it. It's travel fit. All the mods inside were the standard fit. You're killing me, Isaac. You're killing me.
I mean, I have a mobile depot, but I don't think I can give it to you.
No, that's alright, I have one.
Yes.
Okay.
Pop out your mobile depot and refit, please.
While he's doing that, I'll loot these Lancer Rex, I guess.
Might as well.
Oh, hey. There's a monolith.
Yep, there is in fact
Is
a
it-
monolith. This is one of the ones with the monolith, with 2 monoliths.
Interesting.
I always forgot there was one right in the entry room here.
They've kind of made a continued big deal about the monoliths.
They've been teased
Even-
here and there for a very long time.
Well, they also like use them in echoes.
Do they?
Yeah.
I am hesitant to assign, like
I know-
I've said
no,
many
no.
times before, a ton of value there. But
It could be completely random, but
yeah,
yeah.
either way, they make a nice scenery piece at the very least. And everyone thinks, ooh, mysterious, and it's fun.
Monoliths can also be found in Crystal Quarry
Yes.
relic sites
Level
and
dig.
certain level 4 mining missions. One of the ice mining missions that shows up.
And in
There's a
relic
guaranteed
sites.
one in the system of Dead End.
Yes, that as
Yep.
well. I'm trying to remember. Is it CCP Paradox or something? So one of him or someone close to that name put together these sites to begin with way back.
Also, there's one in Devil's Dig site.
Yep.
Yeah, but only on the innermost side. Like so the implication seems to be like almost like this is a data storage center for potentially the Yanyong.
I mean, it shows up in the
Or the
Talocan
Talocan.
site.
Yeah, or the Talocan. Sorry, my bad.
It is a really weird thing.
Oh, Drifter.
Oh, hello,
Artemis Tyrannos.
Artemis. So, Artemis, hello, shift change at 36.
Bit far off, isn't she?
Well, it warped to the beacon, so it's going to come for us. Or it webs, tracking disrupts, orbits. No guns on Artemis.
And as usual, Dutch tank, best tank. He went straight for me.
Isaac, Link, you're fit. I want to make sure you really fit, right?
Come here for hugs, Artemis. There we go. Slow down.
It still pains me so much that there's so little literature about the Drifters.
Oh, I know.
Everything you know about them is all supposition based on stuff that is, available elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Isaac.
Link the Fate, but I already double checked it today. So apart from the afterburner, everything is correct.
Link the fit.
Linking it.
Also, you need to turn your prop mod on.
Well, the goal is to dodge the Drifter, but Doomsday.
Swerve.
Oops. Sorry, I was trying to talk to the comms and I accidentally, to the stream.
That's fine. The cloak should have been a 5th repper. But yes, that is right. And your orbit is set for 1250, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. Good.
I'm sorry if I sound a bit, what's the word I'm looking for?
Slow?
No, that's part for the course. A bit, let's go with off the chain, for lack of a better word.
What?
My cadence is off. That's a better description for it.
Okay, let's
What?
get this party started. So for anybody wondering what we're doing, we're letting the Guardians and the Vigilant set up their orbits to get their angular velocity up. So that way, with their sig reduction that we've got specially set up and their speed and the orbit, their angular velocity, it should effectively nullify the chance to really, really, really close to 0. I think statistically it is impossible to get to 0 because wrecking shots exist. But
So neither dark nor light zero are moving currently. I don't know if
they should not be. They have no point. There's no point for them. They're close enough. Their links are in range. So
all right.
And they cannot dodge it, so there's no point in them moving. They also are tank fit, so they can actually, not die to anything. They're also not shooting, so
it's not going to care anyhow. No aggression on it.
Care.
And no logi. So I remember when they cared a lot about that.
Yep.
They still do
So
it.
then we're gonna go down the list. Caprice.
Good, 0.36.
Mallow.
Good, 0.32.
Dutch.
Perfect, 0.28.
Isaac.
0.25.
Pop Drifter. Pop Drifter, Pop Drifter, Pop Drifter, Pop Drifter. Pop it. Pop it.
The weapon damage bonus here is always fun.
Swing and a miss on Dutch.
Good.
take that back. We have Dutch bait, not Caprice bait today.
Yep.
Goodbye,
Okay,
Artemis.
everybody approach Alpha, approach Alpha, approach Alpha, approach Alpha.
I
Uriel,
love the
grab
pretty
loot.
green explosions. Yep, got the loot.
Excellent.
Green.
Almost very reminiscent of the pod explosion.
So I'm feeling kind of nostalgic. I haven't done a Logi run in a while.
Right.
Next gate, Isaac, fix your fit again.
Or
Nope, next gate. You need to take the cloak off next time and add the fifth ripper. Everybody, take the gate. Take the gate. Take the gate. Take
Bots
the
out.
gate.
Bots out. There's bots out.
Well, if they leave them behind, that's their fault.
Active.
He got him.
Good. No drifters.
No drifters, so
It'll be a second getting to you, Dutch. Dark.
okay. Yep. Everybody approach gate Alpha. Gate Alpha. Gate Alpha. Gate Alpha. And in case anybody is wondering why I tagged that one X,
Sleeper engineering
it's called
station.
the readout. It's called the Rift. The Rift always takes you back to the beacon, the warp-in beacon that we warped to get here.
Very beginning.
Yep, very beginning. All the rifts take you there.
So don't use them.
I mean, you can, but you may end up with a drifter since shift change happen, and then you'll just be left behind.
It's like, congratulations on making it this far on the obstacle course. Now you're back at the starting line.
we did it. I wanted to do another one.
And so these enclaves are supposedly where they keep their bodies for doing within the construct.
Ashtaroth, you should probably turn your prop mod on.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm looking at the enclave.
Feel free to look at it. Just turn your prop mod on while you're doing that.
Yeah, no, totally. I was testing you.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, it's not
Sure.
you being tested, but me.
You passed. Good job. Well done.
Yay. I'm paying
I
attention.
always love the look of the sleeper architecture. It's all very specifically designed. I'm not sure if I ever shared you guys that article from Nick Blood, CCP Drop Bear, well after he left CCP, about like his whole everything that went into him coming up with the way the sleepers are in this game.
Oh,
Some
I'd
neat
like
stuff.
to see that.
I mean, you should link that again if you do.
Yeah, I will. It's a good one. I'll put it in
Like
feed.
right now, so that way I can link it in the chat.
Yeah.
Here it is.
It rings a bell, but I'm like, my memory.
It's very illuminating. I was interested when I found that. I was very surprised when I did. There it is. Put it right in Fleet Chat.
Nice, thank you. I think I have read this, but it was a while ago.
All good, Isaac. 5 reps.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody, take gate. Take gate. Take gate. Take gate. Take the gate. Take it.
Warp drive active.
Fly!
We're here today because they were doing it today.
Lancers, no
Oh,
drifters.
4 Lancers. That's fun.
Fuck them. Let's see if we get an Artemis.
So they don't actually do like that here, funny
Approach
enough.
gate Alpha. Approach gate Alpha. Approach gate Alpha. Yeah. Here they won't.
Yeah, there's no reinforcements for these ones. They're just roaming ones that respawn and move around.
Loop them with impunity.
Everybody approach gate Alpha. In case anybody's wondering, Gate Charlie takes us backwards because it is pointed in the way we just came from. The other room used to have, the previous one, used to have the beta access hack
Yes.
can. So it would unlock on the other side, the side that we didn't go down. So it used to be that there were 2 rooms, the transfer gates were locked, and you have to have 2 fleets to go up each side simultaneously. And you would leave somebody at the hack ready to finish it. Usually in like a frigate, something fast.
I
I'm
love
still
the
not
way
sure
the
what
gates.
to make of the
Yeah, they
So in
rearranged the
terms of
gates to make
story
it so
stuff,
that
I've
you
never
can do
been
it with a
totally sure
solo
what to make
group.
of the change there where it opened up. If it was the Drifters or the Sisters of Eve who were supposed to have done it.
Have we found out what the Triglavian Poshfang gates opening up is about yet?
No, nothing's happened to change with those yet
It
at all.
feels the sort of same thing, right? Something happened. We won't necessarily find out why.
I thought there was at least some doodad in the world news about it. I'd have to look it up though.
I haven't seen anything about that. I may have missed something though, so if I'm
I
wrong, please
I know
feel
that
free to correct me.
the collective have escalated their internal conflict.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, no mention of the anchorages to my knowledge.
Oh no, not
Except
the
that-
anchorages. I thought we were talking about the fact that
the opening of the
gates are now
gate, yeah,
available.
Grab that, approach the gate.
Yep, grabbing that last Lancer wreck.
Grab the last one and then just approach the gate. The other cruises we can ignore for now.
Yeah, I don't care about those ones. Not worthwhile.
If we had more time, then sure. But I want to
Yeah.
get this party rolling.
Mm-hmm.
But so just to be clear, it used to require 2 different fleets or 2 different guys on each side because
different
one
groups.
side unlocked the other side. So 2
Yes.
people had to go side by side, but then after some time, like a month or 2, they changed it so that a single group could break through.
If I'm remembering right, wasn't it like a year or so till that changed?
I don't
It was
know.
wild.
It changed about the same time the first Project Discovery came out.
Yes, because Sisters of Eve stuff. Mhm.
Take the gate, take the gate, take the gate, take the gate, take the gate. There's also the time that the Sisters of Eve flotilla showed up in system.
Ah, yes.
Mhm.
So then that actually is a pretty good indicator of what's going on. But the problem is that in game and out, these guys are really not wanting us to know what the hell's going on. So we get kept in the dark quite a bit.
Yes. Yeah, I get the idea. I get the feeling that the Sisters of Eve or the Drifters could have either one been the ones to make this place stay open and not need the hacking anymore. But for the repository at the very end in the
Approach
next
gate, Charlie.
room, I'm pretty sure that's
Approach
just the
gate, Charlie.
Drifters.
Approach gate Charlie. Approach gate Charlie. This is the transfer room, so this would be the Delta access room on the other side, through the gate.
Uh-huh.
You can't go backwards through transfer gates.
So all these things that are here are
So
actually the
once you
ring
go
around the
past
edge.
the first transfer gate, that section is locked.
So this is just tons of enclaves.
Are you
a
going?
particle acceleration
Gate Charlie.
structure. That's crazy.
You called Charlie, right?
Yep, I called Charlie. Caprice, Charlie, not Alpha.
Oops, sorry.
Yep, no worries.
Makes me continue to wonder what these particle acceleration.
On the map, this would be, I think, Delta. This is Gamma transfer. The next room over, the one at Gate Charlie, would be Delta access.
Ooh, it's like getting
Because
ready to
that's the
fire or
Delta
something.
access can. Would have the Delta access can to unlock the Delta transfer gate.
I have to admit, the old way was more
Well,
fun.
what's interesting
It
is the
was. It made
information that
things feel
got
more
leaked
engaging.
on the
I
on
used
Echoes,
to be the hacker, and you had to run like hell.
but that's a different
Oh
topic.
yeah. Yeah, because they'd only stay open for like a minute, right?
Yeah, something like that. I got to direct both sides, and I had to direct the other side without actually being there.
Yep.
And
You
like,
know,
the
there was-
way the gates work, this place really does feel like the closest thing Eve has to a sort of a regular MMO raid dungeon, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
With
Especially
like the
back then.
portals back to the beginning and that sort of thing. It's like,
Oh, look,
You got
Lancers.
Lancers.
Yay, so shift
You
change
can
for
ig-
Lancers.
We can ignore them if you want to move.
Yeah, everybody's here. Take the gate, take the gate, take the gate, take the gate. Take it.
Warp drive active.
Activate gate.
Do it.
Establish your warp vector and go through it.
Yeah, the Triglavians come from here.
Do it.
That's why they call it the ancient domains.
Okay, there's no drifters, so
What's the deal on the drifter?
there's just no drifters in here. Everybody approach gate alpha, gate alpha, gate alpha, gate alpha, gate alpha.
It disappoints me that they cut the drifter standings lost in these places to such a negligible amount.
It used to be minus
That-
1.2.
That did give me Edencom standing, though.
Yeah, the tiniest bit though.
I mean, but
I got plus 0.001.
but if
to
all
Edencom
you need to
from that.
do is get the tiniest amount to be positive to both Edencom and Trig, a Drifter
Oh, yeah.
Hive Fleet is a way to do it.
Yeah, that or kill a single rogue drone in Poshven or
Right, but I mean,
Yeah.
for some of those, like, there are some people that have been having difficulty getting that. Like, this is just another fleet that you can just go and do and have it solved once and for all.
that's true.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so off at the distance, because the damnation is heading the opposite direction, is the Redoubt alignment unit that I'm going to go hack with the damnation. Actually, no, the Astarte. Damnation is going the right way. The Astarte is not intentionally so, because I have a data analyzer to hack this can that will give me an alignment sequence.
Oh, that thing.
There's one on each side, a sequence 0 and a sequence 1. And you need both of those to get drifter drugs.
Hang tight. Have I just never paid attention to hacking? Is that hacking effect always happen? Oh, god damn it. Now I'm using all of them. That's the normal one? Okay. I guess I've never paid attention to the actual hack effect. That's hilarious. That's always something, like, when you notice something new, it might not be new. It might just be you noticing it.
That one really didn't want me in it. Suppressors all the way down.
Oof.
That's the worst. Those are hilarious.
It's interesting. The 3 cans in the event that you go for
Hello.
do have different difficulty levels that actually seem to work.
Yeah, the event cans have one of each difficulty in each room. And they don't explode or anything, so you can try them as many times as you want. So there's one green, one blue, or one yellow and one red can. And they're labeled, actually, if you like show info or whatever.
I like the object, the doodad and fleet. There's also a Redoubt sequence 1. Can only be used in Redoubt, so two tries.
So you got both a 0 and a 1?
No, just the 0. The 1 we get on the other side
Got it.
when we go up the other route.
Oh, for Christ's sake. So wait. You can choose whether or not you put in a 0 or a 1?
No, you have to put in both.
Oh, so we have to go down both routes.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. I was about to say, are you telling me that we've been
Take
we're
the gate.
putting in a message?
Nope.
Okay.
You have to put in both. You'll see
Okay.
it when you get to it.
Okay, that makes me
I'll-
feel better. All right, never mind.
We can show everybody what it looks like.
20 million is worth of technological advance or upmanship, and it's still ones and zeros.
Everybody approach gate alpha. Approach gate alpha. Approach gate alpha.
Come on. I know this is us, but still, come play with us.
Approach gate alpha. Approach gate alpha.
Just 3 different encounters and no, come on. No bullshit.
Still 10 minutes. Don't worry.
No, I don't think we have a coalesce element here. This is just, they're just doing a normal thing.
The coalesced element is a shiny rock made from other shiny rocks. We kind of just glue them together, and we're like, all right, we have a shiny rock.
Yeah, it literally doesn't do anything. So
It's a shiny rock.
mhm.
It's a paperweight. It's a fancy paperweight
Fancy, ancient, sleeper paperweight.
made of other paperweights.
Hmm
That will one day be essential to something. Probably.
It's like in
So-
the TV
Oh,
series.
there's an Artemis. We could just
Blue
Yeah.
Artemis. Okay. All right.
All right. Our shift change is increasing in
Possibly.
pace. It feels like it.
It's possible.
Would that be the first change to a Drifter Hive in like 4
Or-
years? Wow.
Or this is the respawn.
Yeah, it easily could be.
Get set up on Artemis. Webs, track disrupts, gun. No guns. Webs,
No
track disrupts, orbit. No guns. No guns. None. Don't shoot it. Don't listen to the bird.
I'm shooting the sleepless
The
patroller.
bird chooses violence.
That is fine. You could violence the other battleship that's off in
Yeah.
the distance.
Yep.
Yes,
Go
yes.
fire at the sleepless patroller.
She's getting louder. Sorry, I'll mute myself for a bit.
Take your tensions out on that thing.
So ultimately, those stones are like in the Loki TV series where we see that all the Infinity Stones are basically paperweights. Is that what we're talking about here?
Huh?
We have no
Space
idea what the coalesce element is actually supposed to do. It just messes with us.
Yeah, there is no in-game function for it. You can just build it, and nothing else happens.
And if you
Whether
read
or
the,
not there was a plan for that something to do with them, and they just haven't done it, or they just never came up with anything at all, we don't know.
It feels as if there were some ideas around the
Oh.
time CCP Seagull was still the EP,
I got
and then things changed pace at some point.
I got the distinct impression that it was we're not 100% sure how this is going to be used, but like whenever, like we will, it's available for them to use whenever they feel like it. So we'll see.
Oh, and we just haven't figured out the use yet.
No,
No,
well,
no,
no. Let me be very, very clear as we're talking about all of these like exploration or whatever. Like there is no grand secret that they've been sitting for 5 years. Like we've been trying to release this feature. There's no feature that's like waiting, and it's like we figure out how to dial in the thing, and it's like suddenly we can now go to Jove space. Like that's not
No,
what's happening here. But
It's a setup piece for a something to follow if they feel like it down the line in development.
10 years from now, when we're and all of a sudden, so hey, remember those things? Guess what they can be used for?
But that being said, there is like, I mean, they have been focusing or bringing back the drifters a little bit recently. And I personally believe that whenever they're ready for the shooter, that's when we're going to see a lot more of this development, because the shooter is basically the continuation of the others storyline, if that makes
No,
sense.
I was under the
And with
impression
that,
that
we are
it's going to be
to
more of a
move on from
Triglavian
here.
thing.
So,
Well-
Caprice?
Those are
They
united
might
now.
now, because people like them.
Well, those are linked.
Caprice.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Caprice?
So,
Caprice.
oh,
Are you good?
I'm good. 0.36.
Mallow.
Good. 0.27.
Dutch.
0.28.
Isaac.
0.25.
Pop Drifter. Pop it. Pop it. Pop it like it's
Boom.
hot. Fire the lasers! And then approach Gate Alpha once it's dead.
Yep, swing and a miss on Dutch.
Nice. Yeah, on paper, it should maybe be shooting me, but it won't. It'll shoot Dutch.
Approach Gate Alpha. Uriel, grab the loot.
Uh-huh.
The loot for that, by the way, is like 5 mil in sleeper
Are
stuff.
they
That's
jack-
not much, yeah.
Like, yeah, of course, whatever you say.
Farming these drifters isn't even a good source of ISK.
So like
Yeah,
what I'm saying is that
there's-
like
it's- there's no
I think there's something to be
Profit motive
solved
coming
here,
to this place.
but it's more narrative than anything, like the
Everybody,
mystery.
Take the gate. Take the
And
gate, take the
maybe once it's solved,
Take
then
it.
they can like use it for the next thing. But like
Yes.
there's no
Early
grand
resummon,
feature
take the gate.
that,
Yeah.
that they're waiting on for us to solve it before they release the feature, is what I'm trying to say.
This is the anti-chamber.
But there might be pieces to the story that hasn't rolled out because of that.
Approach gate. Approach the gate that will soon be tagged Gulf. It is now tagged Gulf. Approach that gate. The frigates in this room are the only ones that web.
Yeah, the more times I come here and the more I think about the space urchin that I've linked in the fleet chat, I really do think that like the drifters used whatever those Jovian gates were to go somewhere in my head. Maybe that's how they got to the Triglavian abyssal space.
Yeah,
And then
that's exactly my thought. Yeah.
Once we found the things, they went, no, scupper them. They've done thunked us out. Because just in terms of us going there and taking pictures and things of the space urchin, it really did feel like CCP weren't quite ready. Like they didn't expect us to get there because it was pretty crazy, right?
I remember, well, when they were
First time we found it, the gates didn't go there. There was
yeah,
no
exactly. It was just us flying between. Okay, I'm gonna go cover my bird. She's screaming way too much every time I open my mouth.
Takes after the other. I mean, what?
Wow.
Either you're giving the bird too much attention or not enough.
He was talking about his bird, and he's playing with no pants.
Pants overrated.
As soon as he said, I'm going to do something about my bird, I immediately had the scene that cutscene from Hitman Blood Money that didn't end well for the bird.
I haven't decided if it's more likely that the drifters got in through this route or if they got in via the rogue drones.
Yeah, it would be nice if the rogue drones found a way in themselves.
Oh, I think the rogue drones are the answer to it all. I think that the rogue drones are the inventors of the filament technology.
Okay.
Because the short of it is needle.
There's nothing that says they're the ones who invented it.
Well, okay. So we know that the rogue drones are one of the earliest groups to have come into the abyss. It's either them or the drifters, based on the language of the different conversations. They were originally going in to ransack it for resources. There was a conflict about whether or not they would be good or not, but there was a use divined by the Veles clade for the rogue drones, and we never found out what it is that the use was, but there was a use. The original filaments were first found in a giant cache in a rogue drone area. The drones were taught about Isogen 5 by something, perhaps the other, but perhaps somewhere else, which is why they were fiddling with the gun. But like the rogue drones have always been able to like end up in places that they don't belong, and there's all of those spatial rifts in rogue drone sites. I believe that the rogue drones experimented with Isogen 5 in order to discover ways to punch micro holes in reality to send their needles through to open up the gates for other things. That's why you see the smallest rogue drones in the abyss are known as needles, and that's why the who do experiments on rogue drones, for instance, the excavator drones, their experimental unit created the needle jack filament. So I think that the rogue drones and the creation of I think that the rogue drones and their experiments with the Isogen 5, basically they are the creators of the filaments, and that technology was then used, like the rogue drones mass produced them for the Triglavians to escape out of the abyss.
I'd say you're giving the
rogue drones were used by the Triglavians to craft the abyssal dead space filament, the spaces that they inhabit, and then at some point the rogue drones basically decided to go independent.
No, that's not it's so I think Ash gives the rogue drones a little too much credit as a monolith. I think they're more like bugs that happen to find their way into places, like there's only a few that are really anything at all. But I do think there is reason to think maybe they were the ones who might kind of made some things happen. Yeah.
The Triglavians.
The rogue drones have been used by so many different groups. The drift, the other with the drifters, and also the Prigs. I think.
Hold up.
Yeah. I'm gonna cut you off. Move on.
We're done with that, yeah.
This gate is different. This gate is going to go differently. I'm going to send the damnation in first because it's going to face tank Hikanta Tyrannos, who is about 100+ km away, does more damage, and has in the past done wrecking shots and just annihilated the Guardians.
The drifters have bodies.
So it'll be Damnation first. The Guardians will follow second.
There was an
once I
autopsy
verify
report.
that I have the aggro from Hikanta, and then the rest of the fleet. Are there any questions on that? Also, we're going to wait like 2 minutes because
I didn't
it's
hear
almost
any of the
showtime.
instructions because I was arguing with you guys.
And I don't want us to get surprised by a drifter with half the fleet split. That would be bad juju.
Yeah, there's a drifter autopsy.
Yeah, Dark, let me fix some
Hold on.
shields on one of the Guardians.
Okay. So the reason why is at about 100 km out, Hikanta sits on the vault, a little over 100-ish, and burning in a straight line, even with all the sig reduction, even with all the boosts and stuff that we have, has managed to basically two-shot the Guardians. Two of them. Not simultaneously, but close enough and fast enough that there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah,
the rate of fire is 5 seconds. The reps are, I think, 6 seconds. And they only happen at the end of the cycle.
Sorry, Rubes.
Even with everything we've got, we've had them just destroyed. It's exciting, though.
Is serious business.
Okay, I'm good, Dutch. Dark.
Okay, it is 12:07. I do not see any drifters, so I will be sending the Damnation. And Damnation is pretty beefy. I've got Genos. I don't have amulets, and I've got Genolutions instead. And it's full tank fit, so it can survive. And then this is Redoubt. It could survive in Conflux just fine.
Don't have a Pilgrim this time, do we?
No, we do not. So, Guardians, please align down the gate. There's also an Artemis, so there will be 2 drifters. That's right, 2 drifters.
Big spooky.
Guardians, please align. I didn't say take it.
Oh, we need a Leroy, Isaac.
Leroy Jenkins!
What do we do, Dark?
Guardians, go in. Everybody else, just relax. Guardians in. Guardians in.
I'll say 1 Artemis.
Isaac, just chill, don't move. Wait for the other Guardians to get there, and then get set up.
So
fleet in, fleet in, fleet in, fleet in, fleet in.
I can explain
fleet
afterwards
in.
what my theory about the drifters are, but basically the drifters are
in.
taking over sleeper bodies in order to
Mobile
puppet them
collecting
like giant
loot because
meat
we'll be
puppets through their implants.
Get set up on Hikanta, webs, track disrupts orbits. It's shifting to Dutch. Get reps on Dutch. Get reps on Dutch. Ignore the Damnation. Get the reps on Dutch. Webs, track and disrupts orbits. Hikanta, Tyrannos. Tagged 1. Isaac, that's Artemis.
Whoa.
Isaac.
Yeah, I'm handling it.
Okay.
Double check my reps before I was doing something else. I haven't done lodges in a while, so I'm double checking everything.
So
I thought there was
this one, Hikanta, is the only one that applies any real webs at about 60%. All the others are like 10% webs. It's pretty negligible. Also, for whatever reason, I didn't have my
I thought when these things were cracked open, you could see the guys floating around. But I guess not. Maybe not. Readout vault.
Also, just to clarify, I tried to align down the gate and hit warp instead. I was not trying to intentionally Leroy. With a $1 billion Guardian.
Yup.
So good.
So what
That's
you
not
can do,
much for our Guardian.
What you can do now is bookmark the beacon, right? And next time, just align to the bookmark of the beacon. Name it like Hive Beacon or something.
Huh.
And then that way you can align to the bookmark instead. You can't warp to the bookmark, but you can align to it.
You'll know.
Dark. Dutch has full
Where does the
aggro from
consciousness
both
come from?
Artemis, so my anchor is going to be a lot lower with the current orbit.
Okay, set your orbit to 500.
The prevailing theory is that they are the other from the construct.
That way you're closer.
Readjusting orbit.
In the meantime, Caprice,
All good. 369.
Mallow,
0.32.
Isaac,
0.25.
and then Dutch. Once you're set, just let me know.
Well, the
Yeah,
inside
it's still stabilizing.
more so.
Yep, that's what I said. Just once it's done.
Anyone know which hive Tukas was found in?
This one.
Oh, okay.
There is a small cloud off in the distance. It's between the hive and the farthest
Yeah, I see it.
thing. That is where it was found. There's a small gray cloud.
That's
Little bit
Tukas's
of
rack.
history.
Sweet. I mean, rip.
Stabilizing at 0.27.
Good enough. Pop drifter. Pop one. Pop one. Pop one. Not two. Do not shoot two.
Somebody shot two. Somebody shot two. Somebody shot two.
Stop shooting two.
Swing and a miss on Dutch.
Okay, good. They stopped shooting it. So, other than
Want me to
panic
grab the
about.
loot from this one as well, Dark?
Nope. The MTU will tractor it.
Gotcha.
Get set up on 2. Webs track and disrupts orbits. Webs track and disrupts orbits on 2. Webs track and disrupts orbits. No guns. I saw somebody probably had it locked. They pressed it, and because the overshield
Encanto.
breaks your lock on when the overshield drops, you lose your lock on that.
Oh,
They
yeah.
probably accidentally pressed it. It registered too late and shot 2 because they had both locked.
Yep.
That's most likely what happened. It happens. Just as long as they catch it, that's fine. Not something to panic over. If they kept doing it, I was looking at it and I would have called them out.
You're good.
You were eyeing it.
Yep.
Go. You're good. Yeah.
To make sure that they stopped after a point. Because their damage is your damage is boosted in here. Because you're all confessors.
Hello? Thank you.
Where was it? There was something else. So while you all are waiting.
Also, the hives have appeared in K-space,
You see a Jove
which is
corpse over there in
demonstrated
the
that they can
distance on
transport.
both sides,
So
left and right.
that's
where we
spooky
are.
too.
They're
Canopics.
LCOs, sadly. So
Yeah, they're
No scooping
LCOs.
that.
You can't scoop them. Not for lack of trying, though. Okay, Caprice,
All good. 337.
Mallow,
0.32.
Dutch,
0.28.
Isaac,
The 5.
Pop, Drifter, Pop Drifter, Pop Drifter, Pop Drifter, Pop Drifter, pop it, pop it, pop it, pop it, shoot it, kill it, make it dead, turn it into a wreck.
Swing and a miss on Dutch.
Always love that sound.
Ah, yes, the frog.
It's just the association from like when we used to do it in Caracals, and it was the sound of somebody definitely dying.
Yeah, there was a point where it just never missed, and then they started adding missing, and then
Yeah,
we
they
figured
added
it out.
tracking after a while.
But
For
there
a
was
while, it
point
was just,
where it was-
someone dies.
Yep, it was basically just it fires, somebody dies, you move on with your life.
It's like the song of the 30 caracals, and then the drifter fired, and then there were 29.
Yep.
That being said, I do remember that like the idea that they would be like out tracking them was always kind of like CCP's intended method, if I remember correctly from some of my conversations I had with.
Yeah. That
Some of
used to be
them.
that they just left their prop mods on as well and orbited you at 3,500 meters a second.
It was a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they switched. Then they gave them an afterburner so they could do both. And then they set it up so that way it would turn off both of them once it got in orbit of you. So it was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
But oh yeah, drifters move. Battleships move at 3,500 meters per second.
So do the
Have an
cruisers.
optimal of 150 km. Do
Play Switch event?
1,000 DPS.
Oh,
these are broken. If this was a
the
player
Drifter
ship,
Hives in
this would
K
be
space.
there would be outcries of
The
anger at
Which
CCP
is-
for this.
Which has always made me sad because I've always wanted
The
one, but
Inception
it's
MPE.
What they released would have to be so much worse than what's in the Drifter's hands that it would be, however they explained it, it would be disappointing.
I mean, you remember my old thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I remember it. We're going to align.
Basically, if it didn't have the Doomsday off the top and you made all the craziness based on like overheating, you could make them pretty good players.
So that was round 1. We're not going to take the gate. We'll take the gate after round 2. Everybody should be approaching me. Should be, in theory.
Well,
I'm going to call for another regroup just to make sure.
Hurry.
And we are going to...
I don't understand. What do you mean by why not one
go
fleet?
See the Sisters of a Flotilla. And
Dark.
wait, hold up. What's up?
Life Zero is since completely stopped.
He's not stopped. He's just doesn't have his prop mod on. But he is.
It might look like he's stopped.
Yeah, he's really slow without his prop mod at 186 meters a second. He is double plated and tri-marked, and there was something. Let's do this. Yes, this will be good. Yes. We are doing this.
Oh boy.
Active.
Congo
Oh.
line.
Oh no. Whatever.
The Drop It Comet.
All right, this
Oh,
is disappointing.
Compress.
Yup. Congratulations, we have
it's just my
achieved
overview.
singularity.
Oh my goodness, they really put us all directly inside of each other. Is that a fleet arrangement
It
thing?
is.
or-
It is what happens when you try
Ah.
to do a fleet warp to something like this.
Fascinating.
Yep. There is a large conglomeration of Sisters of Eve ships that you can do nothing about because they're all LCOs.
But they're very pretty, so you know.
They are very pretty. I sort of think of this as where it died, though, because we know that there was going to be that cam where you could put something in it, and that never materialized.
Yeah, they had that on Sissy for a while. It was
Congratulations, we just became a Space Hulk.
There's still a couple days to enter my competition. Maybe with a Naglfar if you'd like to illustrate a Space Hulk.
We're going to take another warp, and I am going to.
Right, now I want to play Dawn of War 2 again.
Yeah, they only used Guardians
Good game.
for this.
You haven't played Space Hulk? As in the first person? Oh.
I have linked the forum in Fleet Chat. This is how you get paid. Your name is your character that you flew with us on. Your organization is whatever group you really want. So it could be your alliance, it could be your corporation, it could be independent, it could be your coalition name.
Your local football club?
As long as you put something. Yeah, you could put your local football club if you really want to. It really doesn't matter. It's just like if we notice that we've got like 50 Pappy guys in the fleet, then we'd be like, hey, look, we got a huge group of Pappy guys here. If they type Pappy. I'm just putting that out as an example. It could be goons. I don't care who it is. It could be Triggs. It could be like an almost all Triggs supporter fleet, and I'd be like, okay, we got Triggs supporters in here. We're doing it. It does not bother me if we have Triggs supporters. I've had other Triggs supporters in here, so.
I mean, enemy of my enemy or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I guess.
Glory to the Federation.
Well, the Minotaur and the
Go for
Triggs
it.
could be doing. It sounds like you're doing some diplomacy now, so I'm like, well, okay.
Elements. So you get a fractional payout plus the element. The element in this case,
Yeah, I assume that I just have
after
blue
readout,
above
which one
purple.
comes next?
Let me fix that.
You will all get.
Sentinel.
Yep, Sentinel. So it drops.
Thank God it's not more Vidette. I have way too many of those.
The Hekanta will drop an index for the next hive in the chain. So Redoubt will always drop Sentinel index. So you will all get a Sentinel element. Elements only. You don't care about the fractional payout. ISK. ARC values them at 75 million per unit, so you can get paid money instead. And then donation is you don't care. You're just here for shits and giggles.
Feel better?
And we should give a prize for people who can identify the two guys at the bottom of the page.
Uriel and come on, what's his freaking name?
They have
come on.
forever.
So, does anybody know why
Toronto.
we
Nice
all
nice
condense
down
into
there.
one spot when we warp to that spot or to that other site?
Are you asking rhetorically or?
Well, I figured it out the other day. So because this happens in faction warfare sites too, and it was bothering me, and then I realized well, it's not a bug. Do you know why it does it?
I do not.
So all warps to a low sec to a dead space site are in relationship to the beacon. So the FC gives an order to each of the fleet members their exact location to land on, but each one of their locations gets crushed down to the single point location based on the warp beacon. So each of us individually warp to exactly the same location, and so we all condense on top of each other.
So it's not
but it doesn't happen on structures, and also that Sisters of Iflito is not dead space.
Probably has something similar going on in the background in some funky way then.
Well,
or just the way they built the dungeon.
Interesting. I don't know about that last part, but I do know I figured it out that that's why it was happening with Dead Space pockets. But
yeah, and I can accept that, but Sisters of Eve is not dead space.
So if I'm there and I burn off, can you warp to me at 10 and like land at 10?
Yep.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
What? Okay. Well,
the systems are strange.
This place is spooky. What can I say?
Because if you're walking to a structure, then you're working by the rules of the structure. It's still an object, and there is collision and everything that involves it. But
that's not a dead space
you
pocket.
walk into a spot, then it's simply overlapping vectors until you hit the same location.
Anyway, 5-minute break. 21:28.
Roger that. Be right back.
Roger.
Gotcha.
I may warp you around during the break, but don't worry about it. That's just me being paranoid, cautious.
I'm going to run ad really quick. Hold on. Oh.
Yep.
Not that you guys care about that. Hold on. Sorry about that. I'm going to do an ad just to get rid of pre-rolls.
Also does. You asked about Deathwing earlier?
Ralph, you also make sure you fill out the form before you leave because you do get paid even if you're only here for half of it. Shit happens. Real life happens. Other games happen.
I'm going to get some water.
You get paid because you showed up and you contributed in some meaningful fashion.
That show's still on.
Warp drive active.
All right. What'd I miss? Nothing? Awesome. Hey, Valamir. Oh, nice. Tea with Mandy. I don't know if I've seen that channel.
Warp drive active.
I have not. I'm going to go follow them. Oh, yeah, and there's the Sheltark salute, of course. I should even have that. Last time I checked, I'm a member of the tribe. Oh. Dalox, that was my fault. Dalox, are you back yet? It was 3. I mean, unless you you might have watched a pre-roller, you might have watched ads and then immediately showed up right as I was starting 3 minutes of ads. But I do 3 minutes of ads because that gives me 33 minutes of no pre-rolls. So we had a downtime right now, so I figured I'd knock that out. So the good news is that you haven't missed anything in that amount of time.
Warp drive active.
I was supposed to be explaining something to somebody during this downtime. Oh. Man, I remember every time I've warped to one of these shattered wormholes when I'm in a... Hold on. Every time I warp to one of these shadowed planets when I'm like doing like hacking or whatever and cloaked, I freak out because like suddenly there's a giant boulder next to me.
Yes. I got back exactly as the giant boulders were rolling past the screen. I'm like, wait, what?
Oh, did I miss a fleet warp or something? That's
Yep,
weird.
You might have. Just warped to dark.
Hmm.
And for everybody else
yeah.
who's here,
Isn't an
there
Eve streamer but has an
is
07.
line
That's pretty
to
crazy.
broadcasters, the readout. Please align.
Has a
make
salute.
Sure. This lets me know that you're not AFK. Still.
You know what I do? Have them broadcast in position. It's my ready check if I have less than 15 people.
That also works.
Although I also see imposition used for saying that you're no longer being shot.
Yes, no, I use it for. I see people use that for too, but that's why I use it for a ready check because most of the time people have it ready, and it doesn't freak the logi out when you tell people to do it.
Everything's okay.
Yeah, it's if that means I'm okay, then it's a good use for ready check too.
This is all true.
It's one of the techniques that I like. Somebody suggested it like halfway through my invasions fleets, and I was just like, oh my god. So I'd always complain about not having a ready check in Eve.
Tannhauser.
Yes.
Align to the readout beacon, please.
And I was wondering why everything is moving away from me.
That being said, an instruction like that helps to make sure that they're there and paying attention, I suppose.
Yep. It also, because we're going back to it, it also gets us ready to actually go.
It's fair.
So here we go.
I was thinking the asteroids are moving. No, that's not usual. The planet is moving. No. And then, oh, the ships.
Fusion!
Ultron fleet, go!
One ship on radar. No, hang on. It's how many?
Everybody, approach Gate Gulf. Approach Gate Gulf. Approach Gate Gulf.
Trojan horse fleet.
Yeah, it's a real.
We invented a new ship in Eve. They'll never know what to call it.
It's like a clown car, you know? Open up the door and 50 people come out.
I mean, pegs are what allow that to happen, right? So maybe
It's called defensive ship.
It's a good point. While we're in warp, we don't have mass.
Yeah.
Beware the denizens of the warp.
Speaking of which, anybody saw that giant orc army box we're having?
I won a T-shirt by whang loudly once.
I'm pretty sure I can find one. If not on the shop, then probably on Etsy somewhere.
How am I in the back of the pack?
I want to go ahead and see how much we're pressing it for, and the website is still blocked. It's still flooded. Or at least it look like it.
We are doing a Drifter Hive. So we're now doing the... So we're now going to be doing the other half to get the other token, right? Got it.
I think we are.
TT Vaxel, thank you for joining us down the rabbit hole. Jeep on online.
Everybody, take the gate, take the gate, take the gate. We also need to kill Hakanta a second time so we can make sure everybody has an element. The index, when converted at the Hive, gives out 10 elements. So it's a 10 to 1. One Hakanta drops one index turns into
Artemis?
one.
Drifter.
Artemis! Get set up on Artemis! Webs, tracking disrupts, orbits, no guns, no guns.
No, I can't either.
I hope Hakanta's not here. Hakanta's supposed to be in the Hive and Hive only.
The Drifter Hives are the 5 wormholes that are connected through unidentified wormholes that show up in any system with a Jovian observatory.
I do not have aggro this time.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
got it.
That's a noob. Or at least a newcomer.
I did love the panic in your voice, like, wait, Dutch doesn't have aggro?
That's because Mallow has the Artemis. Also web.
Mellow?
Yep.
Are you sure? Also,
Be
who's
careful, be careful. We are shooting Artemis.
Katia?
Right.
Okay. Caprice.
All good. 0.36.
Mallow.
Good. 31.
Dutch.
0.29.
Isaac.
0.25.
Pop Drifter. Pop Drifter. Pop Drifter. Pop it. Pop it. Pop it.
Reacquire and re-engage.
Boom, boom.
That's some nice work, Dutch.
No. That was on Mallow. It swung and it missed at Mallow.
Nice.
Everybody, approach Gate Bravo. Gate Bravo. Gate Bravo. Gate Bravo. So C is a shortcut to the Nexus. That way you could bypass the Hive if you really just don't feel like going all the way. But it does miss everything else.
They are these Drifter Hives. These Drifter systems are incredibly well connected.
If you need the drugs and already have the alignment sequences.
And
How many-
can dodge drifters.
How many wormholes are connected to these systems at any given time?
Lots.
60 plus.
Okay. So that means these are more connected than Thera.
Yes. The problem is drifters on the outside and they're dead space
No, like-
on both sides.
But like, how many statics do they have? They have like, I thought they had like 20 statics or something like that at this point.
60-ish.
Fair enough. I know
They're
that
not
they got
really
up.
statics though.
Yeah,
There's
they're
the
all
named sides of the EK space.
Yeah, there are, I think, 5 or 6 unstable on this side. 1 for each sec level or class.
By static in this case, I'm saying that like another one will open if one is closed.
It's
Just like
about
Trig has
60.
inverse statics. Yeah. Okay,
They have
cool.
about 60-ish, a little over 60.
Oof.
Yeah, there's a lot of scanning to do.
Well, we have seen people using them as a space highway, like
Oh yeah.
fleets passing through. And
Null uses it all the time. They are incredibly well-connected systems.
Yep.
Really nice for getting rolling battleships back safe.
And everybody's here. Take gate, take gate, take gate, take the gate. Take it. Take the gate. Activate.
Drive active.
Negative drifter.
So, in case everybody wants,
It's not
wondering,
really the most ISK valuable.
Bravo side, for sightseeing purposes, the Bravo side, the first one on the right side, will always have a monolith.
And it spins.
Everybody, approach gate Charlie, approach gate Charlie, approach gate Charlie.
The rogue drone thing, though. Like, however much I want, like, a rogue drone expansion, or like the new baddie, the next, big fight to be against a sect of rogue drones or whatever, and that to explain why.
Hold on, my son wants to do his
rogue
a dab on
drones
stream,
gets
but
you
oh
dual
no, you're all
standards.
green, so now people can't see
The
you.
thing that I have to
All right, do your
remember is
dab.
the rogue drones are like
There you go.
insects. They're supposed to be like that. They're not a big threat. Their supers are there in Boschman, but it's not a big deal.
Ashtarothi, if you would please turn your prop mod on.
Calm down.
No! No! I will calm up, good sir. I will calm up!
My son was dabbing on the stream. It was important.
Oh.
These things take precedent.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Well, I hope your problem is so, because now I have aggro. And then they all died.
07 Valamir.
And so this one would be the alpha.
I have some theories about what we can get out of these things, but the big reward out of these things is that you get the drifter drugs.
We're just going in here to see
which
if anything is
are
changed.
almost impossible. Like, this is the only way to get drifter drugs now.
Gate, take the gate, take the gate, take the gate. Really, I don't expect to see much of anything in here. But
Napsky, thank you for joining us down the rabbit hole.
It wouldn't be the first time you're not checking, and just when you stop checking, bam.
So, what is the minimum size fleet to do this? Would you say?
Well, we pretty much did that the other night, right?
7?
So let's see, two command ships. You could probably get away with just one, but I would recommend both. The 3 Guardians, the Vigilant, and I guess a Confessor. Or a Coercer.
I do not recommend the Coercer. I want to throw it away.
Everybody, approach gate Bravo, approach gate Bravo, approach gate Bravo.
Is that the Coercer is bad? It's just not as effective. Nowhere near as effective.
In case
Yeah,
anybody's
not a lot of
wondering
people
how I
know this.
if something's changed. I have pictures from 2016 of every room with all the structures, all the rats. So I can verify as to whether or not something's changed. Something that did recently change, and it's going to be hard to tell for a lot of you. There, in certain hives, there were structures that just said, was it no ID number or something to that effect. Basically, it wasn't labeled properly in the game, so it would just tell you the item number instead. And they fixed that finally. So that is gone. They are now correctly labeled.
Well, if they are paying attention to that, maybe there is something going to happen.
Hopefully. Since we're all here,
I don't know,
we
actually.
don't really need to kill everything. Take the gate. Take the gate.
How valuable are the drifter drugs that we get out of here now, since these are the only source?
That is a good question. I've never checked.
Okay.
I mean, drugs are for taking, right?
Yeah, well, Arc just stockpiles the sequences as of this point in time, in case we need to use them for something. In case maybe the alignment unit at the very end will finally let us do something.
In the main,
Bravo, approach gate Bravo, approach gate Bravo, approach gate Bravo.
Yeah, as those things are now, comes off more as the drifters or someone throwing in a can there saying, "Give us these things, we'll give you a little other thing in return." and not giving you any way to actually use the things.
Well, people are asking in my chat are asking about what this site is worth to people. So I was pointing out that there's
nothing.
Well, the drifter
except for
drugs
the
have to be
drugs,
worth something.
The
at this
drifter
point.
drugs are probably worth something. You'd have to check Gita for the prices, and
All
because
Either way,
it's
though.
10 per pair, just like the index to element transfer.
So we get 20 drugs total.
Nope, 10.
No,
10 total.
Yep. The sequence change requires both sequences.
Got
and
it.
You only get 10 per exchange.
Okay.
Additionally, don't they respawn on like a?
Last time I did it, they respawned in an hour.
Yeah. See, after you're ready
Whereas
to
your
deal with
console will
drifters.
respawn every half an hour.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense. You run up one side, kill Hakanta, run back the other side real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you get a group that's not a public group that's understands what they're doing and how to do it quickly, you can actually go through this fairly quickly. I can do both halves in about 45 minutes on my own.
And then it takes an hour for them to respawn.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So once you hack it, you loot it. It takes an hour from when you hack it to respawn the can, refill the can, basically.
Right.
So, but I can run up both sides in 45 minutes, so I can get both halves and still have enough time to kill 2 Hikantas. And we're all here, so take the gate. Take the gate. Take the gate. But that's on my own, and I know what I'm doing.
Warp drive active.
Has them on YouTube or on Twitch?
How do you, it's on Twitch right now. How do you do it by yourself?
I use a rattlesnake and a claymore.
Okay.
To face tank the Doomsday.
Interesting.
Very expensive rattlesnake.
Yeah, it's
Sure.
expensive. It's precise. I'm not relying on somebody else to do the timing for me. Everybody approach gate Bravo. Approach gate Bravo. Approach gate Bravo.
Yeah.
I'm not relying on orbits, so it does go faster. But again, I can't do that with other people.
Sure.
That's the problem.
But so that's 200 to 300 million an hour.
Probably.
And you could just consistently farm that plus blue loot.
Yep. To
Kinda
be fair,
neat.
I do ignore everything but the drifters when I'm doing it because only
Well-
the drifters are pointing me.
Right. But also, I mean, like, your main thing is going to just be how many of those can you run an hour? Or if you can make sure to run the full one every hour, that's 300 million, 2 to 300 million an hour. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably justify a 4 or 5 man team for that.
You could. Especially since if you're not going for the Hikanta, you just grab the cans, the alignment sequences, warp off or take the rift, and then go back in through the Nexus gate in the middle instead of going through the Hive. And that will make it quicker because you're avoiding Hikanta. Hikanta's always going to be there. The others are just roaming.
But Hakanta drops blue loot, right?
Yep. Hikanta drops
Very
blue
little.
loot.
But that's how you
Well,
get
what?
the indexes, though, right? Wait.
That is how you get the index.
Okay, so you have to kill the Hakanta.
I mean,
Yes.
if you're just going for the drugs, you don't need the index for the drugs.
Yeah.
Oh, where are the drugs?
The drugs are in the Nexus.
Oh,
We haven't been there yet.
Yeah, we haven't been there yet. But
okay,
so the vault takes the index, and that gives you elements.
got it.
The sequences go to the alignment unit at the very end in the Nexus and give you the drugs. So they're independent from each other.
Got it. Okay, hold on. The vault is where, and how do you get stuff out
In
of
the
it?
Hive. It's in the Hive. You stick the index in the vault and get elements.
Okay. And the index comes from hacking that can. Where does the sequence coming from?
No.
Oh.
No. The index comes from Hikanta.
Got it. Kill the boss, loot the can. The other one is hack the can in the other place, go to the Nexus, and use the thing to get the stuff.
Yes.
Got
Yes,
it.
they're
So you go into the
separate things.
you go to the second room, this room, hack this can, the redoubt alignment unit, get the sequence, go to the Nexus, put in the thing, get the drugs. No Hakanta involved.
You need both. There are 2 sequences.
Correct.
There's one
But
down either side.
But once you get them both, no Hakanta involved. You just
Yeah,
skip
you
the
don't
final
need
room
the
altogether.
best.
Tracking.
Yep.
Got it. I understand what you're saying now. Thanks.
Yep. And take the gate. Take the gate. Take the gate. Also, each hive drops different drugs. So
Oh.
there are 5 drifter drugs, and each hive drops their own drifter drug.
Which one is the Aeola?
I don't know. I really don't remember.
I got to figure this out now.
Yep. But each one has their own drug. So
I
was gonna say.
Hey. Keep your cap up. All right.
Since my main character hasn't made it yet, the gate named Redoubt Delta Transfer. Named Redoubt Delta Transfer. Approach that one. I'll tag it here in a second.
It's
There we go. Now it's tag Bravo. Gate Bravo. Gate tag Bravo.
Profitable. I mean, like, what's profitable?
Well,
yeah, it's
I think it would only be profitable insofar as most people just don't get them at all now. So the price has increased a lot. If people actually were doing this consistently, you know.
I'm just saying, like, if you've got a 6-man team, that's 50 million ISK per hour, not including any of the blue loot or anything. That's just for the drugs. And if you consider that, like, that again, sorry, somebody said that's not very profitable. I don't like the term profitable because it's like, what is good enough ISK? Like, the thing is with this is that you can just be grinding it all the time, and with that 15-minute leeway, you can be at maximum efficiency for hours.
Yep.
Yeah, but is it actually usable? Sometimes profitability isn't exact. The ISK is value for what you can do with it, and right now you can't do anything.
The drugs, those drugs are so valuable, man.
We're talking the drifter drugs, the anti-pharmacon.
Yeah, anti-pharmacon, the cap one in particular. I would love to farm those.
Yeah, the cap one, the armor repair one, and the shield repair one are all really good.
I bet I could
for
convince.
Tracking, and then there's one for missiles. You know.
All right, we're all here. Just take the gate. Take the gate. Take the gate.
You could just safe up for 15 minutes, just like we did. I'm not saying that. Most wormhole null groups ignore it. So, like, yeah, if you just wanted to, as a group, have some group content.
Both sections, sort of. Approach gate golf. Approach gate golf. Approach gate golf. And if anybody's wondering what's in those like sleeper data banks, that sleeper data cores.
Shocking.
That's it. Like it's not even worth doing it.
So one of the the Convocation of Empyreans has been really frustrated since Invasions ended, because even since Chapter 3 started, because we had our entire alliance was built on 8-hour PvE, 10, 25 man fleets, right? So like we wanted organized content that allows us to work together as a fleet for long periods of time if we want to the point where there's still people that just grind the trig on the wormholes or like in trig systems because it's a way for them to continue to do fleet activities together. So,
creating some interest in doing places like this more often, I'd say, is not a bad thing whatsoever.
Yeah, this is something that could just knock out in like a day. We could just do this for a day or two and stock up on a whole bunch of drugs for our own guys or something.
Mm-hmm. And the drugs are really nice because they're sort of under the radar. Not a lot of people use them or know about them, and they're a different slot, I think. So it's that.
No, so the cap, shield, and armor one are all slot 1. Then same as blue pill, same as mind flood, X instinct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right, but they don't have a downside, and they have a pretty strong effect.
Yeah. However,
they're stronger than Sith, and they still have the no downside to it. So
yes, yeah, they have no downside. They're quite strong, and also if you're trying to use like any of the agency ones, you can have those at the same time. So, because those use slot 11 instead of 1, 2, 3. So like you can have like, I don't know, like however much it is you get. So you could use like the agency, shield boost or whatever, the
hard shell
one, and get like a 9% shield boost bonus from that, and then be using the drifter one at the same time and get another 8% on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
So they stack well with those. You can do some fun tank things with that. And then, of course, yeah, cap one is useful.
Yeah, and it's pointed out that the thing I like about these sites is that because they're so connected, it's like as you get the team, you can just go in and out. It's very day trippable.
Definitely. And they're easy to find ways to, and you can't put down structures or anything, so it's hard to, set up permanently or anything like that.
That's true.
They're
Technically, the synth
well-designed.
buff is a nerf to drifter drugs. Sorry.
Technically what?
The synth buff is a nerf to the drifter drugs.
Yes, which I think is fine, because the synth ones needed to be a little better.
Yeah, Dark, I've got to fix some shields.
Okay. Oh, we still
I
got
like to
two
imagine that
battleships to
these asteroids in the middle of these two enclaves at the entrance to every hive are actually something like Mithra's Gate, Night Chronicle. Would be fun to write a little something up about that.
Like that stalagmite is definitely the interesting thing here.
Mm-hmm. Like if it is like a old Triglavian thing, or Triglavian, that's what would be it.
It is interesting that it seems like these preservation conduits have been built around several of the several different substructures that they found around here.
Indeed. The thing is, though, this room is the same across all 5 hives. So there's one of these giant rocks with a thing around it in every one.
Yeah, that's fine.
The thing that is also important, since the conclaves are shattered in the, it seems to suggest that these hives were constructed after the fact, and they found something interesting about these things. So it's kind of two questions. What were these things before the drifters showed up? Like, what were these things to the sleepers? And then what are these things to the drifters?
If you want to hear me without tossing out all the evidence, what I would like to be the case, what I think would be cool and weave together a lot of cool story elements, that these were like administrative sites for old, the old sleeper civilization. The people in charge of that did stuff here. The hives are the drifters coming in here and, smashing things up and taking it for themselves after, those people are gone anyhow. And then you have the Nexus gates, which I would love to imagine were how the Trigs got to the Abyss in the first place, and what the drifters used to follow them in once they were able to. Making the Trigs extend from or be or contain some part of, the quote-unquote Heduani guys would really fix in place a lot of old story elements. It just all fits really well.
Yeah. And
that said, there's not a chance in hell that CCP at any point had any of this planned. Just all these things from all these different authors over decades. If they wanted to make it all work, though, that's a really good way to do it.
Well, they didn't have it all planned, but the quote-unquote key answer is written down, in which everything's kind of based off of.
Yeah, so it's just, the thing is, like, different authors writing things, like CCP Drop Bear, he had no idea what the drifters were. We talked with him at one point a while back on the backstage forums. He was like, oh, these drifter things sound cool. It's like, it's new things that are added. There's no plan set in place from the beginning. But building on top of
it. Okay, I'm gonna cut you off. Sorry.
Yes.
We are going forward. We're gonna do the same thing we did last time on this gate. Damnation's gonna go first, then the Guardians, and then the rest of the fleet. Any questions? All right.
Got that, Isaac?
Damnation's taking the gate. Guardians, Guardians, align down the gate. Align down the gate. Don't just take it just because you feel like it.
But I do.
All right, it's just Hikanta this time. Just Hikanta and some Lancers. So, I'm gonna wait for Hikanta to come in a little bit closer. Isaac, you're still stationary. Move, Hikanta. Let's get going. Guardians, go. And rest of the fleet, go. Rest of the fleet, go. Rest of the fleet, go. Hekanta swapping.
I wasn't even right. Oh, damn it.
Oof.
Fuck you, Hikante.
We lose someone?
No, he didn't die. He's just as soon as he basically invincible from the warp, he got targeted by Hekanta.
That sounds about right. Hikanta has grudges.
Yeah, it really feels like it.
Get set up on Hekanta. Webs, tracking disrupts, no guns, orbits. Though you do want your orbits. Also, for anybody interested, we have melted nano ribbons, so we're all rich. Yay.
Yay.
We have what?
Melted nano ribbons. It used to be that they were really, really expensive, and therefore getting them was a lot of money, and now they're pretty much worthless. Which
It's like, the drop rate isn't high enough. Let's crank it up to 11.
But so now the joke is that we have melted nano ribbons, so therefore we're rich. So very rich, yes.
Let the scroll in.
Yep. Let's see here. What do we got? Let's take a look, shall we? Caprice.
Good.
Mallow.
Good.
Isaac.
Check.
Dutch.
I'm at 0.2, so I'll probably have to go in closer.
You're at 0.2. You're fine. Especially since we're at readout. What's your SIG?
0.2. SIG is 36.
Okay, I was gonna say your SIG, not your. You're at 0.2 and your SIG is 36. Yeah, that's. Plenty.
Yeah, that should be plenty.
Yeah, that's plenty. Pop drifter. Pop drifter.
No.
Especially since you speed up as soon as its web lets go. And I'm gonna call for the regroup. Oh, also the Hekanta drops the coalesced element BPC. So you need to kill a Hekanta to get the BPC, but it only drops one, and since each index converts into 10, let's assume you kill one Hekanta each for all 5. So you're still left with 5 coalesced or 5 elements of the regular types left over after the conversion.
Okay.
Back. And there's Artemis.
Nah, really?
Nice and close.
Get set up on Artemis. Get set up on Artemis. Webs, tracking disrupts, no guns.
And another thing.
It is shift change, or almost. Almost. There's probably a respawn somewhere, or maybe the respawn goes on its own shift change. That's probably what it is.
It's like there's people with worse trick standings than me, but 9 out of 10 or 99 out of 100 times, they still aggro for me. What the fuck?
I, for one, cannot come up with a reasonable reason why did Drifters have such a hard-on for you.
It's like,
It's code.
yeah, it defies what the information we have about how the drifters work. So it's just, superstitious at this point.
CCP put an extra weight on
like
Dutch
it,
Gunner to
right.
compensate for the book.
Her, thank you very much. Like her first female.
CCP put an extra weight on Dutch Gunner because of the
Yeah,
Drifter
Mallow's going to need
guide.
reps, please. Break. Mallow's going to need reps.
'Cause, like,
Break. Mallow's going to need reps. Thank you.
And since we're dealing with that, okay, so should have had plenty of time by this point. Caprice,
Good, good. 369.
Mallow,
Good. 32.
Dutch,
Who's
Point
Mallow?
2.8.
Isaac,
0.25.
Pop Drifter, Pop Drifter, Pop Drifter, Pop Drifter, Pop Drifter.
Oops.
Swing and a miss.
There she blows.
So I keep getting reports from Mallow to rep, and I don't see anybody in danger, and I don't see a Mallow in the fleet. I'm very confused.
Counselor Mallow.
Tracking.
So I've just been using his last name instead of his
Makes
first
sense now. Nope. I don't know why that didn't register. My bad.
That's fine. No worries. All right, I'm going to follow for the regroup again. And we're going to go to the Hive and do the exchange, or the Vault and do the exchange over there. And this is where you'll be able to see what the interface looks like for dropping stuff, because it is not the standard loot container. As nice as it would be that you could just jam random objects in there,
Can you not just jam random objects
you
in
cannot just jam random objects in there. It'd be nice. It'd be funny. But no.
Geocaching, if style. Although technically we already have that with standard cargo containers, but at least this is a little more unique.
And you see that below us is the giant ring of death. Well, I don't really know if it's death, but it's spiky and huge.
Would make for a cool drifter gate.
This
Yeah,
thing looks a lot more constructed than a lot of the other hives that I've seen in like Valkyrie or in the NPE hive, I think. I could be wrong. But
I like the only solid thing that I've sort of heard theorized and tossed about it, but like it's where they have, when they're actually making the drifter bodies themselves out of biomatter, because they've got the spinning rings on the inside, which would suggest they want gravity of some sort.
yeah, well, the Emergent Threats trailer seems to show these hives cracking open the conclave or the enclaves, pulling out the bodies.
Yeah,
and
and
then,
building them in here.
And then them. It looks to me like they're taking out the body and then injecting their drifter consciousness through the implants of the sleeper to take it over.
No, they grab a sleeper body and make it a body for a drifter. That's what they do.
You can see a little needle hit it at its side right before it wakes up.
Oh yeah. Now's a good time to be in speed mode if you're not.
Oh.
A fun thing about the hives, by the way, the inner radius of that ring is quite similar to that of the anchorages as well. That said, I doubt these are supposed to be any sort of gate, considering they have the Nexus thing right next door.
They look so much like a Stargate.
Well, the thing is that like the hives have appeared in K-space now, so it could be
they
that
can be moved there.
Yeah, they have the ability to transport potentially.
That said, thing about the Nexus gates. In that room, there's a huge vortex above and also below, but they use the same vortex effect very similarly in the NPE, but the drifter hives that are there, there's one vortex, so it's just shot there, and it's interesting, because it makes you think, all right, why is there one above and below in the Nexus rooms? And you're like, all right, well, I don't know.
Interesting. I just love this research.
Explanation for that, but I'd rather not spoil it.
What'd you say?
I said I think I have an explanation for that, but that's probably a cosmic phenomenon, not necessarily a man-made, or in this case, drifter-made object.
What thing are you talking about?
I'm talking about the vortices.
Oh, I mean, seems pretty obvious that those are the effect of the Nexus gate kind of thing being used.
Or the Nexus gate is being built there because of the phenomena.
I mean, but then why would it show up where the Drifter Hive shows up in K-space, Like, seems like a hole that's been punched rather than something that's already there. Also, a thing
we
to roll
don't
with on
have it-
that is
Well-
that there aren't any epicenter sites in these places like
Right.
the other shattered wormholes. So, what was connected to Caroline's star in these systems?
So if you select the vault and then select access, it brings up a window.
Yeah, take a look at that if you'd like.
There is no open cargo button. The open cargo button is as no reason given and doesn't let you do anything.
Yeah, this is the same thing as like when the Abyss first
The
showed
things
up.
in the abyss. Yes,
You'd
they
be
use
able
the
to
same function.
drop
Yep.
loot into the ammo can. I think there's still one other way that one other place that this happens. I can't remember where though.
You cannot warp there.
I can't recall.
Also, you cannot just warp to the gate.
Yeah, because we're in the same dead space. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. Going back to the gate. Exchange has been made.
Am I remembering correctly that Fozzie made most of this?
I don't think he was involved heavily here. I think
He
it was
was-
CCP Paradox and a couple of others
Well,
involved in building the sites here.
I mean, it really depends, like how you look at it. I know that like Fozzie was really intimate with like the Thera and
Prop mod on.
all those kinds of things that all seem to be sort of related to this. So
Mm-hmm. CCP Burger was the one who made the Drifter logo. I do recall that little fact.
Oh,
interesting.
it's a lovely logo.
Should we still be in prop mode?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If we're
Just checking.
traveling between areas, so speed mode works.
Speed mode, prop mode, yeah.
Yeah, just checking.
Starred.
Yep,
There's
yep,
rats.
That's fine. That's fine. They don't do enough damage to
Worry about.
significantly threaten you. And the Guardians can rep you.
Is there a guide anywhere with info about all of the current fleet PVE content? Like
Oh boy.
listing all of the different fleet PVE content that you could do instead of any given guide? That's actually a really interesting question.
The only thing that I could think of would be the giant map of activities that I saw on
That's
Reddit one time.
exactly what I was thinking.
But that,
of, yes.
but that all predates even invasions. So like,
Some of it, last I knew, it went up to the Abyss, and I think they were they kept updating it.
I do.
Yeah, someone
I was actually working on one of them, and then I know somebody else is working on an updated version of that. But yeah.
Yep. That's the only thing.
Well, no, there's step-by-step guides for each individual one of those things.
I mean,
usually.
obviously CCP would like it to be the agency, right?
I would like it to be in the agency. Well, I would like it to be in Aura because they rebrand the agency as Aura. That's the correct answer.
Guys, was Roy a tell if you get too
Still
far, we
says
can't
the
trap you.
agency when I hover over the button.
Hmm?
And when I bring it up, it still says the agency. in
No,
the
no,
top
no.
Left.
I know it's not, but
Yeah,
it's my campaign.
Oh, fair enough.
That's what I'm pushing for.
Got it. Fair enough.
Aura, I'm down with Aura being more present in the game.
Guys,
Very much.
Sven has been targeted, broadcasted, and is being shot at by the patrollers.
Yeah, don't worry. I had you locked, but you were still at 70% shield, so I was just waiting to see if the aggro stuck before I would start repping.
The problem is that a lot of the fleet activities are very shifting. Like this, like not very many people would even consider this to be a PvE activity. So
a lot of it.
It's a lot of the PvE fleet activities you kind of have to be somewhat creative about. But that's one of the things I want to start exploring more is like fleet PvE activities. More in different types. Because there are some options. Like we're going to be doing Poshvin stuff too.
Praise the sun.
Always.
There are lots of ways to make money though, but this is about also having experience at the same time. I agree,
I'm now
Space.
thinking about Evie from Mass Effect.
Who?
Mass Effect 3, right?
Oh, ED. Now-
ED.
There we go. But see, I do PvE activities to do the activities and have fun. As long as you do activities that you are enjoying, then you'll do more and it won't be a grind, and then you'll make plenty of money. That's my theory.
So are we chilling or are we waiting for something?
I think where everybody's here. I was just checking something on one of my alts, and it's in range now. So everybody take the gate. Take the gate. Take the gate. Damnation was just out of range, and I wasn't exactly sure why.
Welcome to the outer limits.
I think there's more lightning than normal.
First person.
There definitely is more lightning. Just a touch.
Huh.
Welcome to the giant swirling blue sphincters above and below.
It's a funny thing. Basically, way back when the hives were first a thing, I and a couple of other people would fly around a bit. And way before the Nexus thing was here, they had sort of a little placeholder dungeon room with just a couple of standard sleeper enclaves just chilling there.
Oh.
Yeah, and then when we saw stuff going into the files about these things, I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe something's there. And then Makoto was the one who went and did the fly through the same way to see if there was actually something there. And lo and behold, there was a Nexus gate. I really wish things hadn't completely stopped with the drifters. Between their incursions breaking and them needing to be turned off, and then also like Jamil Sorum corpse getting taken by a player and never showing up again, it feels like it just sort of stopped.
So there's the
It's been
repository.
worked a little into the Triglavian stuff though, which is nice.
Yes,
Again, it's the same interface as the vault. It just needs 2 items instead of 1, and it gives you the drugs. This
you guys want to
room
go over there?
occasionally has drifters in it or
Mhm.
lancers.
Yeah,
But
this is
generally
a
it's
valid
empty.
room for the shift changes and everything, yeah. And sometimes they just seem to show up also.
Otherwise, beyond that, we have completed everything we came to do. Does anybody have any questions on this hive?
Anything from the stream?
Show
Let
them
me
all the
look.
lightning, Ash.
We're just looking at it, and like I'm just trying to get a good angle. Just a lot of conversations about like how long it's been abandoned, whether or not it's abandoned content or whatnot.
5 years.
A little while.
2015 is when this started. 2016, I think, is around the last time anything.
Yeah, the last time when Project Discovery Phase 1 first came out is the last change that was made to the hives.
Mm-hmm.
And that was 2017.
One of the things I used to speculate that the pieces that are here were actually from the Jovian observatories, because the Jovian observatories seem to be being broken apart, which implies that the drifters are, tearing them apart. But the Jovian observatory that is at the Battle of Vakatioth explicitly says that it's being destroyed by nanorot, and it looks very similar to the other ones as well. So it seems to suggest that what's happening to the observatory might be the nanorot.
It can be 2 things. I mean, the drifters are obviously taking parts off of them. Those, But also, this stuff here, not observatory debris. These are actually pieces of the model of the Nexus Gate.
Right.
I love that space urchin. It was so pretty.
It was very, very neat. It's a huge
and the gate,
shame
like
that they
the
never did
gate's
anything
so big
with it.
and crazy. I just want to see it from the perspective of a ship flying around it in game, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, also, that one you have pictures of is just the stage 1 of it. It was going to have 3 stages also.
All right, so with that, we're gonna head on out. So we are going to go back to the wormhole.
Yes.
Roger.
Let's see. Where's my bookmark? Where did I put my bookmark?
That is awesome to
There
hear,
it is.
Cajun Vixen.
Take the fleet warp.
Oh.
Drive active.
No.
Wave bye-bye to the Hive.
Bye-bye, Hive.
Here in a month.
All right.
Or maybe sooner.
The layout of the hives are roughly similar. Each one is slightly different, like which side rooms or which back and forth rooms you have available, or which direction they're pointing, but they all have the same set of rooms, basically. And everybody approach the wormhole. They all have a hive, they all have the antechamber, they all have the split room, somebody warped off.
There's always a man, there's always a tower.
Maybe Katy has disconnected something because he's no longer in the fleet.
It is very much within the realm of possibility. But I approach the wormhole, approach the wormhole, approach the wormhole. Sorry, Ash. They'll have the gamma, alpha, beta, gamma, delta transfer and access rooms. They're just laid out differently. Split room is always in the same spot. Antechamber is always in the same spot. Hive is always in the same spot. Nexus is always in the same spot.
My son keeps asking me for things. I probably should go deal with that as soon as we get out, unfortunately.
Also, Ash, I see you have quite a few latecomers in chat.
Quite a few what?
Quite a few latecomers who just came in to see you leave the hive.
Well, luckily
That's
this
quite a
whole
shame.
this whole thing is going to be on disc, on my YouTube and everything like that.
Hold on a second, just one.
Oh, no. No. There it is. Good gosh.
There what is?
Sorry, that was stream stuff.
Ah.
Prop mods off. Once you hit the wormhole.
Katia just informed us that their internet died. But they informed us on the internet, so it could be mobile. It could be mobile. It could be something else. Maybe it came back.
By the way, you can't read this message.
Part of me thinks like if the house internet dies, but you still have mobile internet,
Sure.
then
Yeah.
that would be how I would do it.
You don't have phones?
Way, apparently. Because that thing never came out.
Oh God. Why did they say that?
You know what's hilarious? In the Albion Online commercial, they say it again.
Did they really?
The guy at the checkout counter, because he's like in the Albion commercial, he's got his whole computer in his shopping cart, and the guy at the checkout counter goes, "Don't you have a phone?" And I just lost it.
That's great. What a misstep, though. Like, holy crap.
It wasn't a misstep. It
It's
was
just so tone deaf.
You missed
forward, and it wasn't with us.
a Drifter Hive.
But they didn't expect that much of a backlash, so they said, "Yeah, we'll do a Diablo 4." Like, sure. We like money.
Those are two separate projects, anyways.
They are, yeah.
It's still silly that they said that.
Yeah, that was somebody not managing himself on stage.
Not managing expectations, that's for sure.
Do you guys not have
Reading the
phones?
room.
You can't have a big reveal of something be a mobile game. It won't generate enough hype for a game that has community.
Well, they know
in the
that
way it's
now.
already been
That was
built.
the year for everybody to announce their big AAA mobile game.
Yeah, but even then, everyone was saying how.
Well, they
how
figured
much
it out.
No one cared. Yeah. A long while for executives to figure it out.
Are we good to go or?
We're waiting on Katya to catch up to us. They're
Fine.
turning to the gate right now.
Oh, I see.
There are children watching.
We are watching Katya approach the gate.
Come on.
That is an old confessor.
Yeah. Apparently, in the prop mode, the align time is less than the Drifter battleship response time.
Very nice.
Okay, this is seriously disturbing. Parents, if your kids are watching Ash's stream right now, turn away.
Okay, everybody hold. I'm sending the Astarte through right now to check the other side.
Oh, because the drifters. Got it.
Yep, because there might be drifters. There they are, right on the wormhole.
They'll probably go right in then.
They probably will. 2, 3, yep. Okay, everybody take the wormhole, jump the wormhole, activate the wormhole, enter the wormhole.
Push button.
Traverse. Z wormhole.
Push button, enter Q.
Crush the threshold.
Black hole is a type of wormhole space, but that was, I mean, it is a wormhole. It's sort of like a black
there
hole.
it is. Broadcast aligned to. Everybody aligned to the wormhole. This way, nobody gets caught in case drifters show up again for whatever reason.
Why is this not working? Hello? Uh-oh.
And we warp everybody out. Except for Uriel, who decided to take his time.
Except for Caprice.
Well, Caprice wasn't aligned. Uriel wasn't aligned.
Yeah, it's because they don't
Failures.
actually have
Failures.
they don't actually traverse the wormhole.
They're
It's kind of a cheat.
special.
We were hanging out.
This is one of the big problems that CCP ran into when it came to implementing this stuff.
There's Caprice.
Was physically
there's Uriel,
allowing a
everybody's here.
NPC
Fleet
travel
is
from one
like this.
system to another.
Hey.
You're free to go.
Thank
Hey.
you
Thank you for
very
coming.
much, Dark.
Yep. Many thanks.
Thank you for the fleet.
Thanks,
Thanks,
FC.
Thanks,
Nice
Lucky
to meet
buddies. Good job.
Thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed it. And Isaac, give it back to me in Amar.
Nope, I'm keeping it.
Oh, then you owe me $1 billion.
Okay then.
But otherwise, besides that, yep.
These
thanks for
always
coming.
start out in Amar, right? So if I just stash this confessor
yes.
here, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, put it in Emperor Family Academy, and we veer out from there depending on where the wormhole is.
Yeah, CCP's inability to let NPCs travel from one system to another has been one of the
It's always
major
fun.
concerns,
With
or
the
one of the
That's
major
history.
hurdles,
Yeah.
or blockers that they've had.
The dead Avatar is always fun to
Oh,
check.
yeah.
The reason for picking Amar is it's just the Amar happened to have the most
Space.
space and the most Jove observatories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair.
And also used to be that Nyarja was there and it was easy to get into Caldaria space.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Somebody goons.
Oh yeah, blame the goons.
Yes.
God
Yes,
damn it.
Yes, blame them instead of
Let's
me.
let's ignore
Damn goons.
let's ignore the year of prep work and seeding ideas and teaching all of the blocks and everybody what was going on.
I
and-
must say, it was a hell of a lot of fun that night in Nyarja when it all popped off, and then Mittens came into the Trig Discord and we were all discussing things.
Since right before chapter 3, like as chapter 3 was entering, I messaged like every major block and I was like, you know, do you know about what's going on with chapter 3, you know, whatever. And most of them brushed me off. And so I asked one question: what are you going to do when it's Nyarja? they're like, what are you talking about?
Wait a minute.
I'm like, it's Niarja. So what are you going to do when it's Niarja?
Well, if you're going to be like what Billy was saying,
That was a mistake.
That the reason goons came in was because Billy said that.
Yeah.
Which
But
I just found that very entertaining.
I think that what people don't talk about enough, people give it to goons, but what people don't talk about enough was the 6+ hours of absolute stalemate because both sides were maxing out their points every single tick.
Mm-hmm. Every moment. There was no time lost whatsoever. I was up for an ungodly amount of time.
It shifted less than 2% in a total of 6 hours.
When that started, I had already been up for 30 hours straight,
Yeah.
working on Arshad.
Yeah, you guys had just flipped.
Oh yeah, you guys
a system
are
back.
Off of that system.
Yeah,
I
we
know.
were just coming off of that. I was up for 30 hours, and then that evening, like after I had been asleep for 1 hour, I got called and told I had to drive another 2 hours to go to work.
Oh no. I do know that like even CCP didn't know it was going to happen until it did, because like when Niarja went live, even that was like an alarm bell even on CCP's side, because everybody knew that was going to be the apex.
That was the crown jewel of the expansion.
And it was teased from the very beginning.
I get the feeling they made it so Niarja could not go until they reached a certain time, and then they were like, all right, now it's able to.
From my understanding, it was completely left up to the rules, like the AI that ran the invasion. Like it had its goals, and it just happened to have Niarja. The Triglavians didn't know.
The fact that it was like the second to last one, I think, or the last one.
No, it wasn't. I don't know.
It was either the second to last or the last. It was one of the last couple.
I don't think that was true.
I think the last two were like Minmatar.
Yeah, the last two were Minmatar.
It was like Skarkon.
Because they didn't get any Minmatar at all, and then we suddenly grabbed Skarkon and the other one.
Oh, you may be right. I think I might be wrong there. Yeah. Either way, I think they at least made it so Niarja would not be one of the first ones. I feel like they stopped it from being possible until later on after they were done.
I think it was just Jesus.
The only thing I know is that it was not going to happen on Singularity or
absolutely
Serenity.
Not. Yeah.
There were certain sites that were reserved for Tranquility, and there are certain systems that were reserved for Serenity, and Niarja was one of the ones that was reserved for Tranquility because Niarja, it wasn't nearly as big of a deal on Serenity. But I do think it's interesting. Like I said, even from the very beginning, the only star I knew going into this, we had all of our theories about blue suns and yellow suns and all that stuff. The only one that we knew for sure, 1000%, was Niarja, because they said Eminence Glory, and it was the only one that we knew was Eminence Glory. Niarja specifically was listed as Eminence Glory. So
figuring out those different terms and things was fun. I'm still happy I put most of that together on some of those forum posts. And it was nice to have all of that actually predict things. And it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I actually built it around that. It was fun.
There is a lot of meaning to the mechanics. And so understanding things allows you to understand the mechanics a lot more. I think that was one of the biggest examples of that. But that's what I also mean by there's a lot more to discover in the sleeper sites and wormholes and all that stuff, because it's
I feel as if there isn't anything hidden anymore for that.
No, again, so what I'm saying is not mechanically, but information. I think that there's more things that to decipher and more answers to unlock. Not mechanics, but just like now that if we go back and look at it, that it may not all make sense at first thing. There's a lot of things that still don't make sense, and I just feel like we haven't taken the information that we have and applied it to what we know, the sites and the information that is available to us to decrypt it.
The one thing that I'll jump on for there is probably in relation to how things have grown in story stuff, the Oruza Sobnik site and all of that.
Right.
It being the only Slavic sounding thing at all, and it also being 3 sleeper enclaves feeding into one at the middle.
It's also the
easy
one
to say, all right, maybe we can make that a trig thing.
It's also interesting that is the one that
there's a lot of talk about.
That Drop Bear specifically calls out in his it may not make sense at first post. And again, the problem is that it isn't that the Triglavians were conceptualized then, but that there was a nebulous thing there that then was later coalesced to define into the Drifters and defined into the Triglavians. There was enough of a whole, and in fact, even CCP Delegate Zero said that there were some things that actually shifted in the background things that we did not know about. But the Bible did shift a little bit when they made the Triglavians. But they basically took what was there and they carved a hole that was available and made the Triglavians out of it.
Yeah, I remember back at FanFest the year the Trigs were revealed at that little round table we had. Delegate Zero was saying Trigs are based in some very old lore from Eve. It's not that they're just a completely new thing that they came up with off the cuff.
Right,
They're
but
based in things.
It's just like originally all of these ancient races were just like thrown in there, right? So the Cosmos missions were thrown in. Each one of them had their own ancient race, and then because of the wormholes that allowed them to take the sleepers and expand on it and make them into its own thing. In the same way, there was a thing that they know about from the history of the Shrouded Days. There was a group from the Shrouded Days that they were able to key in on and turn into the Triglavians. They just altered the history somewhat of what happened at the end of the Shrouded Days, which CCP knows, but we don't.
I'm still very confident that it's a pretty high possibility that they took the Enheduani side of things and morphed that into what the Trigs are now.
I think it's Talakan. And I also think, I think that the Enheduani are also complete liars. So I think that our story of the Enheduani from Templar 1 is a lie. I think that they stole... I think that they stole the history of the Talakan because I think that the Talakan actually helped make the sleepers from the Jovians.
There's just nothing to make me lean in those directions, mostly personally. And also going back to Templar 1 specifically, one of my favorite little things to say, all right, what if CCP had took a little cue here and built off of it a bit, is the person speaking for the Enheduani sounds exactly like what a Navka, Trig thing kind of described to be.
Well, and we've talked about this. I think that there is a technology, i.e. ascension, that several groups have maybe gotten to. And so the Nafka may be the same.
The Tulraug thing.
Yeah, so the Nafka, as the Triglavians have it, may be the same concept of like the Enheduani, even if they're not even if they're not the same group. In fact, there may be a war of disembodied ghosts. But I think that the Enheduani are complete liars. And I think that the hint is that when Venal was alive, he speaks so negatively about the Enheduani. Oh yeah, Grievous, sorry.
And when he's alive, he's against them, and when he's dead, he's speaking for them, saying he was on the wrong side. But also, he's pretty much a Nafka. Which that all leads into me thinking more about Trig's equal.
But he's not a Nafka though, because he's not just a ghost that shows up. The drones show up and project him in.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
the Nafka are supposed to be pretty much, so far as we can tell, some sort of just like infomorphs that are just kind of like if you want to take the name real literally, like ghosts of the dead,
That's fair, but the Enheduani can speak to people just directly into their mind.
Well, yeah, and that's where you go and find all that, like, all right, well, not Navka, but like the Coast Choice stuff and the Tulraug and all that other weird esoteric lore.
So I think that the Tulraug, I personally believe that the Enheduani attempted to take over the Mimitar in order to manipulate them, in order to make them into the perfect race. And that's why they did the whole elder thing. They tried to
influence their civilization.
They tried to convince the elders to join them, and the elders rejected them. And so as the elders died, they took over, and they were like, "See, look, I'm the elder now," and like made the whole thing, and they made this whole mythology out of that. And so I believe that the elders as we know them are actually Enheduani masquerading as the elders to continue to manipulate the Mimitar.
I hear what you're saying, but I sincerely hate that idea because it takes away all of the Mimitar's agency.
So go read the story of the creation. Specifically of the elders.
Tulraug's creation.
The elders being
the artifact in the elders. You've got this artifact which they may have rejected whoever.
So wait, can I actually just? Yeah. Sorry. I'll give a quick little history for anyone listening, because it's just a fun little bit of lore. So, the original, all the 7 Minmatar tribes, there were 7 old elders way back. All of them had these things from some sort of artifact, it was called, which was supposedly found at the Crystal Step, which is like some really old landing site back during the colonizing days before the Eve Gate collapsed, blah, blah, blah. But basically, this artifact thing was split up, and each of the original elders had one of them. And at one point in history, things started talking to them through these, really old, obviously somewhat technologically related artifacts, called them all to one place, then invited, quote unquote, spirits showed up and invited one of them to come learn something from them. The Verhokior elder went up. All the other elders were down there. They were all saying, maybe this is a bad thing. And then that one elder came back almost dead. And they all said, yeah, fuck this, and left. And then the Brutor elder took all those artifacts and threw them in the ocean. And then there was stuff that happened. The tribes had their conflicts. And by the end of that, though, they all kind of came to a close. And that elder who went up with them said, hey, I'm going to teach you guys what they taught me. And then that's where the first Tulraug thing shows up. And what that really is, really, the best it can be described, is like making this form that looks like this big, white-robed, masked figure that can basically go anywhere in space at any time. Really weird, ridiculous-sounding high-concept stuff. But then you get from that, and then there's a specific factoid mentioned that they've never appeared in wormhole space, which is really a weird standing out little bit.
Yeah.
And then so you go from that and say, well, how the hell is this even a thing? But then you can go right to the trigs and stuff. And this is where the theory stuff starts a bit. The Kostroi thing, how there's 3 different forms of trig life or whatever.
My
The
thing though
Kostroi,
is, with that story in particular, that article, The Elders, I really want to know who wrote it, because it seems, from what I've been able to find out, it seems to have been written or released, at any rate, very, like, shortly after the Empyrean Age and things were.
I think this article was around 2014. I'm gonna go find it's on the original Eve Wiki archive still, so hold on.
Yeah.
I'm looking,
but from what I can see, it definitely post-dates the Tony G stuff. So it very much has this flavor of someone knowing the Tony G lore, knowing the Minmatar lore, and trying to sort of slot the two together in a way which makes some sense.
That is definitely the way it comes together for me. Yeah.
Knowing how the Minmatar lore was written.
So haphazardly, it places.
Well, no, it's not even that. It's just that it was the sparsest of all the lore, of all of the sort of stuff in Eve back in the day. From what from talking to various people, from what I can grasp, the Minmatar, there just wasn't much written at all.
Well, so the original lore seemed to show the history. It's just like kind of actually is now, where there's the history of the ethnic Galente, which does cover Caldari quite a bit. And then there's the history of the Amar. So the Caldari and the Minmatar only get really referenced as in relationship to the other two, because there is no history of the Minmatar in the same way that there is the history of the Amar, which was incredibly detailed and broken down.
Yes. Well, also the Minmatar, their story has always been fragmented in some really unfortunate ways, and devs have come out and said that many times.
That being said, there is a lot of information on the fiction portal, especially about the Elders. So
that specific article is very good. Yeah, and by the way, I found the original published date from that.
So
looks like it was 2015 where that Elders article was first published.
Oh, that's later than I thought then. Okay.
Yeah, so the Elders.
It came out around the same time as those articles about like all the new Amar heirs. Those people who became the new ones showed up.
So
there's a few articles that came around that time.
The first Talrog was witnessed though at the death of the Elder.
Yes.
So that's why, like I said, I believe that the Minmatar largely rejected the Talakan, or rather these spirits as attempts at first. And so I believe that they waited until after.
Yeah.
See, I feel like there's no reason what you're saying can't be true, but from a story perspective, I think it would be a terrible direction for them to take. And it would just make way too many people.
But so the thing is that that's so consistent with everything else, though. So basically, what happens is that the Adheduani were manipulating the Minmatar for a long time, and were trying to build them into what they believe to be their perfect community in order to deal with whatever, right? So,
well, in order to just say these people are the closest to achieving what we ourselves.
Exactly. So they had the most interest in the Minmatar, so they thought that they could cause the Minmatar to come to ascension. So they were working on the Minmatar, and they were making progress, and then the Amar attacked.
Yes. Exactly.
And that's why the Adheduani didn't like the Amar at first, and then when either way, whatever. But my point is that I think that because there's a lot of different references to these white, shadowy, or ghosty figures that show up throughout time. And
yeah, you have
there's
the
some
Saturn,
references
you
to
have
the
the
fact that the Edhediwani have turned themselves into something else, like a body,
Yes.
like they've ascended.
Which
So
is where I jump right onto the Coast Choice stuff as well.
right.
Yeah.
You know. But
So
again, though, about the things with all of that, though, like from a thematic standpoint, there's no reason what you're saying. Oh yeah, all the Ulrag are actually Enheduani guys or something. There's no reason it couldn't be true. But again, I think it's just a bad thing if
What?
they did that
Like,
because in opposition to that, they teach the old Minmatar elders how to do this Chulraug thing.
Hmm.
And then they're just
Well-
doing it themselves because you
and
have.
use
But
the
again-
artifacts.
but again,
to
if you
jump
read
right
it, they weren't taught.
No, that's what
No.
Barocco went up and she came back down almost dead, and then she knew about this.
Okay. The first has been references. Hold on.
I'm gonna go back
I
to
literally
the-
was just reading it. The third reason for the deification of the elders is the appearance of the Talrug form, fundamentally linking them with the spirit world due to their powers to presumably cross over or communicate while in physical union with it. The first recorded appearance of the spiritual manifestations of the elder known as the Talrug comes from the Thucker archives, with the death of Varoka, the first mother, whose history has been intertwined with the earliest mythology of the people. Close to death, the first mother is said to have asked Crust to carry her up to the mountain, where she meditated at the rock outcropping known as the Pinnacle for 7 days, eating only traditional corn cake, while she looked towards the distant Sobakai desert as those loyal to her left. On the 7th day, she called the other elders to her and spoke of what she had learned from the dark spirits during their time on Myoar, in particular the method by which a quasi-spirit could be generated. Baroque chronicles report that on her death, it is said that her flesh was rent by beams of light and that she emerged as a pure manifestation of spirit, the first Talrog. So again,
I mean, that sounds to me like what I was saying, though. She was taught to.
Right.
Showed them how to do it.
but she was already at the edge of death when she was brought up there. So I think that this was their time of taking over. They couldn't take over when they were still like together and active, but they managed to convince her of this and then subsequently basically take over the rest of the
See, I very much like the idea of someone becoming immortal just via uploading their consciousness, very much like we are, right? In terms of like their infomorph projection being this ghost or this Torag. But my problem with it all is that knowing that it's Tony G writing Eldar Phoenix Lords originally, and that this is someone
funny.
looking
making
back
it
and
work.
trying to do something
Definitely.
more sane, because there's so
Well,
many problems with having some entity
Something like
like
that
that
in
running the Mimitar for all this time. Now, when I started playing the game, I didn't know that the Elders were introduced so late. So they were introduced by Tony G pretty much. Before that, no one, or by the Empyrean Age expansion. Before that, there was no Elders. No one knew what the fuck.
Well,
was
they were
going on.
mentioned in the Odyssey, but not
we're
to any
going to
extent such as this.
we're going to call it I call it Precursor Crisis Phase 1, because basically so what happened was in 2004 when they came out, they didn't really they expected the game to last like 3 years. And then in 2006, they realized that it wasn't going to last 3 years. It was going to last a little bit longer. And so they started this plan, and then they created a 4-year arc. And you can even find the chronicle or the dev blogs where they talk about it at the beginning, middle, and end, where they said, okay, well, we're going to make a story. That's when they made the puzzle box, right? Or they started the process of it. And so they started creating a ton of new chronicles. It's also why you see these the earliest chronicles are more informational, like Fedo. And then there's this phase of chronicles that are all stories and riddles and weird, things like that, which of course climaxes in 2008 with the Apocrypha. So in essence, this 4-year cycle was the lead up to and shockwaves from the Apocrypha event. So that is the puzzle box. And then after that, in 2010, he moves on to the Sancha cycle, which actually does feed back into the Precursor Crisis in certain ways. You can tell that or at least it seems to me that Drop Air was trying to draw attention to specific pieces of the Sleeper story that we may have not paid attention to up until that point, with the Awakened Infomorph and the wormholes and stuff like that. But then, of course, Drop Air then left the company, which causes that whole thing to kind of become somewhat disrupted.
Yes.
But
back for a slight moment to what we were on before we completely move on from it, though. The Tulraug thing and how it doesn't really seem to fit into the universe of Eve. How, like you said, Tony G was writing, Eldar pretty much at that point.
To be clear, I don't.
With that, though, what I wanted to say is that with the Trigs, some mechanic was introduced through which that would actually be able to make sense in the world, at least.
Sure.
And you
The
very much have to
holographic
look at it.
transcribers.
Yeah,
They,
like a thing that's being written by a games company. So where
Yeah.
they can slot stuff in, they should.
do.
And very much the gate, the big Jovian gate in the Drifter Hive, I very much like the idea of that being how the Triglavians got into the Abyss.
Right.
Not because I think that was how it was designed or
But
thought
because
of
it
originally,
worked well.
but because it's a good retroactive thing, right? It makes sense. You look at it and you go, yeah, no, that could get you into the Abyss. Sure,
You
yeah.
can have someone say it, and you can look at it and totally accept that because
Yeah.
it makes sense. Yeah, that's
Well-
exactly the sort of thing I look at with the sort
So-
of things I like to try to connect. Because I'm not saying any of them are true, because I doubt any of them are things that are written at all. But I like to think that these are ways things could work well. So that's
Well,
why I threw them out.
So I stand by the fact that there is an answer, right? And that we can discover it. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter whether or not we like it or not. If there are space ghosts, then there are space
What's
ghosts.
the question?
Like what's really going on, I guess. What's the But my point is that after seeing this stuff, admittedly, especially after seeing some of the stuff on Echoes and then circling back and looking at some of the stuff from Eve, the idea, let me be clear, I don't think the Adheduani are very effective. They're just manipulating things, right? And so you can see like they reach out to the Amar, and the Amar use it as, become power hungry and use it against each other. And so they're like, fuck this. And they stop dealing with the Amar. And then they reach out to the Mimitar, and they seem to make some head grounds with the Mimitar. And they seem to really like the Mimitar to the point where they're actively jumping in on to intervene for the Mimitar during Theodicy and leading up again, sicking the Amarians against the Jove because they don't like either of those factions. So they're sicking their enemies against each other. Why don't they like the Amar? Probably because the Amar fucked up their plan with the Mimitar. So
A thing to say, though, the timeline on which these things happen. If I'm remembering correctly, I will double check. But the spirits, quote unquote, talked to the Minmatar around like 16,000s, whatever, AD. But when the Amar were visited by the Sephrim, it was actually just far, 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 far earlier. Basically, oh no, you know what? I'm actually remembering a bit incorrectly. I'm pretty sure that the Minmatar got visited during the time of the Second Jove Empire, but when the Amar got visited, it was like halfway through the First Empire, like way before anything really dug down.
I will have to look into that.
I actually, I'll find my.
It'd be nice to correct that timeline because then I'd strike that from.
So that's where another thing that I like to think of comes in, where, all right, what if this quote-unquote Tulraug, Sephrim, whatever, Kostroy, everything, is a thing that a few groups knew how to do, and it's a thing that you see the Trigs doing now also.
I like the idea of it being a thing that you could do with an artifact, say, projecting an infomorph, but I like very much something which Elspeth has said and others is where the problem with having an entity that's been alive this whole time and is manipulating the Mimitar from the shadows. It would work great if it was a book, but given that it's not, that it's a game where our stories matter and our stories are expanding and what we're doing and what sort of the Republic's doing. I sort of love the idea of the elders being like living out in the Great Wildlands. We know they've got these havens out there which have the proper Minmatar giant acceleration gates, which I'm very curious about.
But again, they have projects, right? Yeah. And again, so I want to stress the Adheduani aren't like everywhere, and they don't have like absolute control. They have very little control, and so one of my theories is that if the Adheduani are really against the Drifters, then they may, or the other, then they may actually know the true nature of things and are trying to prepare people for the Drifters, but without actually, like I said, they're never honest to anyone. So
I see them as more hubristic, honestly. They just want people to do what they want. And then
they're definitely hubristic. But I'm saying like I think that the reason what they're trying to do, what they think that they're trying to do, is prepare the world to deal with the other, or to prepare the universe to deal with the other.
Yeah. I feel as if with the thing with them, it's more they just are disdainful of that now, and are coming to meet them with the troops here.
But if you look at what they do and what they say, they're like their agenda. Like if they don't care, why help Marcus stop the other with Jamil.
Not to say they don't care. I'm saying.
Well, I mean, just like my point was
The
is that
others are what
that
threaten.
was the if you accept the fact that that was the Adheduani coming to do contact, sure, they did some revisionist history to give them credit for what maybe the elders did or something else, like in order to weave the Adheduani into history and kind of justify their existence to the population. They seed everything through lies, but the point of the matter was is that they were deeply concerned about the other and needed to do something about it. So
one thing I do love from the books of Tony G is just that, is it like 1 or 2 pages of seeing actually into that?
Yes, the fact that you got Vince's vision of it, not just Marcus's, because Marcus could have been manipulated by the Adheduani to see that, but the fact that we got a perception of the construct from Vince's, the Templar One's point of view, is the only reason why we know for a fact that much of it is true.
Yeah. Yep. At the same time, despite obviously it being possible that everything is a lie, again, from a storytelling perspective, I think it's stupid to have an entire thing be a lie.
No, I'm not saying everything's a lie, but
No,
they even say that the Adheduani do lie. They warn you about that at the very beginning. But my point is that I think that what they're trying to suggest, what Tony G was trying to imply by basically saying, this is the truth. By the way, this guy is definitely not telling the truth, right? Like those two facts are established very, very firmly in Templar 1. And so while I think that like we can validate a lot of the stuff about the other, and so I think that a lot of the stuff that they're saying about that is true, the manipulated information was the information about the Adheduani itself. They didn't tell the truth about their part in the origin story.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look back at the actual like lore history about like when things like the sleepers were created, when the elders were involved, it actually doesn't quite fit for the Adheduani to be literally like that story contradicts what we knew about Jovian history.
Where does it contradict?
So in the original Jovian,
that's not aggression. I'm asking.
Sure. When the sleepers were created, who brought down the downfall of the first Jovian Empire versus the second Jovian Empire?
Yes, yeah, because the first,
because like
So
like
even talks about
even if you just look at it from the surface, right, and you just take the story from it, you're telling me that the entire Jovian, we had the collapse of the first Jovian Empire, the rise of the second Jovian Empire, and yet we still have the architects and the sleeper and the Adheduani pretty much intact at that point. Like the story doesn't even make sense. That's my problem.
The thing that goes there is if you read Eve Source 2, basically it said like, all right, there were tons of different groups in the First Empire. One of them was people who put together VR and cryostasis.
Correct.
Say sleepers outright, but that's obviously And they were just one of many, many groups up until they became really, really important after the Second Empire coalesced because they reached their technological.
But that's not the story that's not the story that Greyes says.
His story
there's all sorts of things.
He says he can't talk about the fall of the first.
Well, no. But his story is that the sleepers were made basically like the sleepers and the Adheduani were already established basically before they even colonized.
Well, the concepts behind this is what it was.
Yeah.
How those big colony ships had people in cryostasis with a very rudimentary VR.
Another
big
aspect
of what the origins of Jove society were kind of carried through into who became who we'd know as the sleepers now, instead of it being all obvious.
The other hint is the suggestion that the Triglavians were part of the sleeper civilization at one point.
Yes, and that's what I say about them being the Enheduani.
Yeah.
Or at least including that group or having extended from that group.
Well,
one of my favorite
they were part of it.
The
sleeper civilization was a partnership between the Triglavian and the sleeper and Jovians, according to the Triglavian records.
Yes. Also, one of my favorite little bits of things to come back to was in the half a year leading up to when the Trigs were revealed in the first place. We had that Wars of Extraction, where the Drifters were smashing open enclaves that were cloaked up here in cave space that were fighting back against the Drifters.
Delegate Zero has confirmed that is the very first time that we got Triglavian stuff.
Exactly.
Yep.
And those data streams were taken. Those are exactly the same format as the Trig things taken from these enclaves.
Well, yeah,
And-
that's yeah.
Yeah.
That was the
It's
first
very much-
introduction of
yeah.
Triglavians.
It's very much my opinion that the old admins of the sleepers left and became the Triglavian.
Right. I don't necessarily disagree with that, especially since, so again, I personally believe that the stuff that was accidentally posted on Echoes was actual answers that were like in the back of the book that we didn't know yet. So at least
Do you still have a link
it doesn't.
to any of those, by the way?
I'll have
I
to look it
completely
up.
lost access
I'll have to
to
look
those.
it up, given the fact that I think they actually changed it. But
They removed it, didn't they?
but
Yes.
there's a couple of pieces. The Talikan, sorry, the Edheduani as becoming beings of light, which is kind of consistent with the Odyssey.
And the Ghost Choice stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and the idea that during the first Jovian Empire, a chunk of the Jove left to go join the Talikan, who then transformed them into the sleepers as they are, did the biological manipulation, all that stuff. And then after the other rose and the Talikan, the AI war happened, not the other, but the AI war caused the Talikan to have to unleash the antivirus, which killed most of the sleepers. And so then they retreated back to the Jove sometime around the Second Jovian Empire, when they then left again, which is how they would know how to get to Anoikis, because they basically went back home to their previous masters to find them gone. That's what I think happened, or is possible that happened.
I also see no reason why something like that couldn't be the case. That actually sounds somewhat neat.
Yeah, and so
I'd like there to be some. Basically, I wish there was any evidence of this whatsoever in Eve Prime.
so there's a little bit of suggestion that the
I just
Talikan
tend to not look at it. You know,
the well, so that if that's true, and you accept that the Talikan are the Triglavian, then
well, why does that make them the Triglavians, though? Explain your thoughts there.
Because the Edheduani, as we know it, are basically, like I said, remember I said they stole the story? So it would be the Talikan who did most of the manipulation, and so we're the constructors of the concepts and that the sleeper civilization is based off of. So that would actually make the Talikan be the true like guardians of the construct and the people that were fighting the AI, right? Because the AI war, and so then the Talikan structure, named after, or I guess, is it a Talikan area that is named after a Slavic, the Orzu?
No, it's a purely sleeper one. It's
Okay,
the Oruz
well,
Subnik.
never mind. I want it to be the Talikan, but I'm not sure yet. But my point is that what we do know is that
they had some sort of interaction.
They had a satellite civilization together, and that something went wrong with that satellite civilization, and it caused them to have to kill anyone who is corrupted by it and purge any connection to that
Some
society.
sort of hive linking thing. It's the reason they don't like hive linked stuff.
Right. It was a hive. It was
something like that happened.
It was a hybrid hive mind civilization. So
yeah, so that's something the Trigs remember and have on record and say this is bad and you can't let.
Well, yeah, they looked it up.
Yes, exactly. They have it in archives that they possess.
Yep, they said
they possessed archives up until the end of the Second Jove Empire. Also was very telling.
So it says archive comparison profile, Jovian Triglavian satellite polity, ident JTNBZ, category hybrid, subcategory hive mind, iteration 1.2.0 or question mark.
Yes.
That's why I
so
said
that'd be like first Empire era.
Later on in the first Jovian Empire, correct.
Well, 1.2 you said, right? So
right. So not the beginning of the first Jovian Empire. We'll put it that way.
But a little ways into it. Whereas the 2 point anything would be Second Empire, obviously.
And then, is there another reference to that polity later? I don't think so. Well,
there's not. That one's only mentioned there.
But there is, and then in AEA,
they talk about the tyrants specifically in regards to Second Empire polity.
Yes.
And how the Trigs don't match up with them, and they're like, oh shit.
But if you look here, it's
the tyrants at first.
It's counter to ideological patterns recovered pertaining to Jove Empire of the Chambers of Tyrant query Jovian expansionist polity, iteration 2 point question mark, which means
and that's absolutely the tyrants.
Right. Exactly.
Their whole thing was let's pull everything together and actually build ourselves.
Second Jovian Empire. But also, they don't know where in the Second Jovian Empire. So this suggests that the Triglavians know some stuff about them. 2 point question mark.
When
they don't know how deep into the Triglavian or into the Second Jovian Empire development these guys came from, which causes me to believe that whenever the Triglavians left the known space, they left during the Second Jovian Empire.
Or at the tail end, yes, or before the collapse finished.
Right.
Which was
would be
to
during the
say-
Second Jovian Empire, because they have records
Yeah,
from the
which-
Second
which
Jovian,
would
but not
also be to
complete records.
say- Yes, which would also be to say they left while the tyrants were still a thing, and they were scared when the quote unquote tyrants came for them. And we know that the sleepers and the Enheduani left.
The other thing,
at the threatening of all the outside Jove thought they could solve the problem. The Jove said they, and then they all left at that time.
so there's another interesting piece to this, which is because so they have the spatial temporal environment, so they know where the Second Jovian Empire existed. But there's always one line in this that has always gotten to me, which is that when they do a reference to the First Jovian Empire, they call it the archived comparison profile. So they have a whole profile built of this iteration 1.2 Jovian Triglavian satellite polity, right?
Isn't the comparison thing them comparing it to the modern thing, like the Sancha?
Right, yeah. They're comparing Sancha to their archived profile. So they have an archived profile to reference the First Jovian Empire. But when they talk about the Second Jovian Empire, you see recovered material, counter to ideological patterns recovered pertaining to Jovian empires, the Second Chamber of Tyrants. I don't know if this implies that they, the way it worded, it seems almost as if they have less direct knowledge of the Second Jovian Empire and more direct knowledge of the First Jovian Empire. But that may be just me reading this text way too many times.
But then the tyrants themselves, I don't know. That whole thing seems very weird to me, even within the Jovians, who are pretty weird to start with.
What do you mean by that? I'd like to hear your thoughts, Caprice.
Like the business of the sort of the drifters taking on this mantle of the tyrants, the expansionist Jove, makes me wonder how the tyrannical Jove did their expansion, right? Because we know with their mothership and things that they were quite
the mothership
utilitarian, shall we say? Like they didn't, would they have built many battleships and things? But the
short answer to a lot of that is that we can't really know. At the same time, though, when they say tyrants, it's very much more the classical Greek interpretation of that word than monstrous dictatorship or anything.
Yeah, that was just their leadership cast.
As described in Eve's source, the whole society was actually pretty well put together. And the group of the tyrants, Miko Bor and all that came in and said, "All right, all you splintered up Jove factions, join us or we'll destroy you." And then they made everyone come back together and made things really well after doing that. And then with the drifters, though, the drifters are, it's obviously not said outright, but I'd say it would be absurd for it not to be the drifters being the others and things like that at this point. Them taking up that mantle of the tyrants is them saying, we don't want to live in a fake world. Let's be a real Jove empire now.
Yeah.
We're going to use the name of the ones who really were real. Yeah. And that, very symbolic.
Yeah, if so if you consider the other is a violation of existence, it knows that.
VR, yeah.
If you go back to, if you believe the visions by Gravis and you see the little boy with the black eyes, he just wanted to belong. Everyone hated him and rejected him. And so the anger that comes from the drifters, the other knows that it's a violation. And so it wants nothing more than to exist, right? It needs reality. Real. And so it's my personal belief.
Literal human bodies for the drifters,
So
instead of just living as drones.
I think that a couple things happen. One, if you go back to that Talican thing, I think that the Talican AI war, I think they lost. And I think that the other is actually an echo of that original AI. That's why they say, there springs an entity older than the stars itself, right? This AI.
Is that just a line from one of the old Galente things?
It's the prophecy of Macabre, which was referenced directly when it came to the drifters. But so the idea is my point is that shoot, I lost my point now. Yeah, so if this AI existed forever or for a long time, I think that I like to say that the other created this knowledge from the dreams of the sleepers, right? So this AI that is a component of the construct, which the construct is built out of the brains of the sleepers, very literally.
Yeah,
So
it's like the original conception of the Matrix before Hollywood execs said people wouldn't understand it.
Yeah. So I think that the other used its knowledge, it learned about things and reached out. It's why it was able to show Jamil where the super weapon was. It was why, they were able to go after the Jovian observatories. The other used the knowledge it has and its access to the sleeper's subconscious to basically harvest all kinds of information. I also think that the other reached out and made friends with the rogue drones, which is how it managed to gain the attention of I think that's how the consciousness of the other made it back to K-Space, as it were.
Yeah.
Was
the
through
other,
the rogue
so
drones.
basically, in addition to obviously getting to Jamil, well, also, by the way, the Jamil stuff is fun because she had implants in her head that were reversed engineered Jove implants.
Yeah, let's be
like,
clear. They got to Victor first. The other got to Victor first. Not Victor. What's his name? Felix Grange.
It didn't get to him, to say. It's more so his obsession with stuff about the old Jove stuff led to him finding stuff at back Atioth, including Jove, FTL, communication implant, which is obviously the idea of how the other got to Jamil in the first place. But after that, like you said, yeah, the other enacted its plans, got them to use they found that thing to slap onto an Abaddon, and then parked it at one of the caches where drones under the control of the other and its, whoever else is with it, were refueling the damn thing, Yeah,
well,
the whole thing is, they were trying to refill that thing, and then also they were just building the caches to open up wormhole space again at a chosen time, and it happened way, way too early.
Well, so those caches are way old. Those caches were not made by the rogue drones.
No. I'm saying the caches were there.
Mm-hmm.
The other had rogue drones putting Isotope 5 back into them and all, because those were the way to open up the wormhole work. And instead of doing it in some controlled way, they got popped, which made unstable wormholes a thing at all. Yeah. And which is why, sleepers or the drifters weren't ready for us and weren't there yet when we went to wormhole space.
Well, also the inner sanctums.
Sorry, what?
Go on.
Yeah, what were you saying, Caprice?
Oh, I love the rogue drones, and I would love to see them as the sort of threat of the day type thing. Whether we'll ever see that or not, though, yeah. Do you know the Yatamo Chronicle?
I do love that one. Yeah,
I adore that Chronicle, and I know it's one of Delegate Zero's, and it's no longer on the website, so it's clearly being it's in for redevelopment or whatever they do with Chronicles when they.
Yeah, is that not on the new Sun?
Wait, what is it called? So. How do you spell it?
Yetamo. Yetamo. Oh no, it's there.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm just being incompetent and can't find it.
Oh no, sorry. Actually, wait a second. No,
I'm there.
Actually in there. The Chronicle itself isn't on here.
Yeah.
It seems.
And I love it, and it's one of those things where I go, the Rogue Drones as a thing, it has been played with so many times, but other AIs, other AI constructs, other AI, things, you'd have a lot of fun with that.
Yes.
You go, well, this AI, this Yatamo lizard AI, has taken over this clutch of rogue drones and is doing crazy stuff.
Hold up. Okay, never mind. Oh, okay.
If you'd like to read this chronicle, by the way, I found it archived on the old eWiki.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's because when I looked it up, I found the methods of torture. Hold on.
Yes. Yeah, this is also one of the ones that Delegate Zero wrote at some point. So.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay.
It's a lovely cron, and I'm dead curious what they're doing to it with it, or why it's been pulled.
I gotta look into this too. Yeah. I haven't read this one yet.
It's a fun, good chronicle. Yeah.
To the Wayback Machine.
Exactly. Here, I'll just send you the link. I already have it.
Anywho, I should probably wrap up my stream too, though, because we're just sitting.
Sent it to you just now.
No worries.
And Caprice, I see you are still in the fleet in game. So
yeah, man. Thank you.
I do like Chronicle.
Yeah, the stuff from Nova? Where? I've lost the name.
It still, by
Dust
the way,
514?
bothers me that it feels like all of the Trig lore and stuff is being withheld until they release the shooter stuff.
I mean, that is kind of frustrating. The other shoe is definitely waiting to drop for sure. But I definitely, like, I know that people complain about the Chronicle thing, but I actually really, really love the environmental storytelling stuff. I just wish that we had a little bit more. And the fact that the Semiosis consoles, especially the encrypted Semiosis console, hasn't done anything makes me very upset.
Yeah, they use them as sort of a route to disseminate certain little bits of information.
Well, they've never
And
done
I
anything
think
with the
encrypted one.
with the encrypted one.
Oh,
They
no,
really
sorry. Didn't a couple of things come with that?
Nope. I feel like
No,
it's.
no,
I feel like that is like somebody needs to sit them down and be like, okay, so there's this thing called Chekhov's gun. Okay, like y'all need to stop this.
We have like 30 Chekhov's guns.
But
anyhow, also though, specifically pertaining to those encrypted consoles, I find so the only ones that we have are the Svarog ones, and I like. All right, so do you remember what what I did back in what was it, Semiki, way back?
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
I like to think that that's the in-world impetus for them making encrypted ones, because you had a couple of us shove
it was
Sancha
Sancha
data into it, and they were like, no, bad.
Bad, wrong.
That was fun. Well, basically, yeah, exactly. What happened there was us trying to feed info to Svarog Clade, because, you know, Kresnik Svarog, they don't like Sancha, blah, blah, blah. And what happened instead was when the trig ships showed up, I would honestly presume it to have been some sort of AI bug, and it was Delegate Zero and some other devs having fun trying to figure out how to make certain things work. But all the trigs also started shooting the structure along with the Sancha, and then ended up having them all self-destruct.
It really depends on what you're going with. So first of all, the self-destruct thing, I don't know whether or not we should consider that.
You know.
I don't know whether or not we should consider that a self-destruct or not, because I just don't know whether or not they had like a filament capability at the time, and so they just self-destructed instead. Like they had no other way of clearing them away.
Well, with them not fighting the Sancha at all and shooting us instead alongside the Sancha.
So let's go to the Sancha thing.
You know,
like that goes into
corruption, you know,
that goes into my theory, continued theory, which is that there's a chunk of the Svarog clade that is actually corrupted by Sancha.
I think they purge that wherever it's found, and that's why they had all these things self-destructive.
I think that Kresnik Svarog's job is to try to
purge any influence of Sancha anywhere at any time.
No. Specifically internally, because everyone is ordered to purge Sancha. Kresnik was given a very specific
mandate.
He was given a specific mandate to establish integrity. Hold on.
I'll pull up the data stream as well. I like talking about this stuff. It's
yeah.
Let's see. Convocation of Triglav.
Because the
imperative evokes special operations.
Yeah, so the detached executive troika asks for us to come to a final decision with Sancha, and the convocation responds by denying their relief to have an expanded mandate. So the convocation, Zoria Triglav's
Zoria wanted to
this falls under.
Hey, let's look at stuff.
Yeah, this falls under extirpating the Poshlost. I want it under my mandate, and the convocation said no. And then they created a special operations troika for the extirpation of corrupted Neurania from Dazbog subclade to Svarog clade. This special operations troika shall have a mandate in Subornos for advancing time grave communion with clades assembled in subclades militant to realize the accepted norma of extirpation of corrupted Neurania and hive linking within the flow of Viraj, domain of Bouillon, and ancient domains. Hold on. So that means that the special operations troika, their mandate is in accordance with the overall clade mandate to destroy those things. But if you go into, where is it? If you go into HFN5, you see advancing time discourse element, effective action for elimination of hive link corruption should not be hindered by imperative for further samplings. Special operations troika has mandate for extirpation of corruption of hive linking where manifested. Oh, never mind. That isn't the right one.
Yeah. So basically, exactly that line there is.
Hold on.
Well, what
here we
Zoria
go.
wanted to do was winnow discourses and like find forward solutions for things for Sancha, and then the convocation is like, no, Sancha's the worst thing we've found so far. There's not a chance we're messing with them. We're just going to wipe them out wherever their influence shows up.
Except it says, task of Kresnik Svarog is to purge corruption, achieve integrity, and insist on emulation of the perverse.
Yes.
which is in separation. This is in conjunction with the normal rules. So again, why have your guy be from Svarog? Why purge corruption? What do you mean by achieving integrity? The
Well, keeping
Svarog
things
is
not corrupt.
broken. No, this is
I disagree.
Svarog, fix your house.
I disagree personally. I don't see anything to suggest that Svarog is having any sort of specific time. I see this as just another troika
they're,
So-
together.
they're trying to find
So
someone
where?
that indicates
Okay.
Hold
them.
on 1 second. Let me talk for a moment, real quick.
Sure.
Zoria's taking charge of all the, liminality stuff. That was what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
That is their entire job at that time. Kresnik's entire job is to take charge of and organize and be in charge of everything to do with purging Sancha influence anywhere it's found. It just happens to be one of, instead of it's someone built from someone from each clade or whatever, like Zoria probably is, this is a troika just under Svarog clade.
But why?
Because they're the most starkly traditionalist, not open to new ideas, and very much good at getting rid of what they see as the bad things.
Why deny Zoria the ability to take care of it?
Well, because Zoria wasn't asking for the ability to take care of it the way I'm reading it. So how you see it here, let's see. Let's see, all right. The convocation receives prayer from Zoria for sublimation of... Zoria goes to the convocation and says, they want to winnow discourses in relation to Sancha.
But that's not what's denied.
No, that is, yeah.
No, it isn't.
Convocation denied
relief of prayer.
From Zoria.
So that's a different thing. What is what is that prayer?
So no, what it's saying is
Zoria asked for an expanded mandate. Zoria is asking for an expanded mandate in Subornost concerning the corruption of hive linking and corrupted Neurotnia. Yes. So Zoria was asking for their mandate to be expanded to include this situation.
Yes.
Correct.
Which is all Zoria's thing. Reading the other ones, each of the fourth data streams talks about Zoria's thing wanting to winnow discourses for each different subject: drifters, capsuleers, rogue drones, and Sancha. And here's the only place where the convocation says, "Fuck no, we're having one we put together to take care of this." Instead of finding any, basically, there's no wiggle room and no room at all that they're being given to, as it says in the fifth one, effective action for elimination of hive mind corruption should not be hindered by imperative for further sampling. It's basically, there's no more investigation going. We're not going to figure out anything else about them because it's straight up too dangerous. We're going to just destroy them because they're a threat to who we are,
Right.
Whereas with capsuleers, it's all right, we can find something interesting here to do with them. Rogue drones, all right, we found something interesting to do with them. Drifters, not some, digital existential threat like the Sancha are.
Right.
Which is to say, sorry, I say that wrong because the idea with the Sancha stuff is that they're straight up hijacking trigs somehow. And they're like, this is bad.
Right.
It's more like scrap code in 40k where it's infecting your systems.
Pretty much.
But again, so why would you assume that they've always been failing?
What do you mean?
We know that they're corrupting their guys. So I'm saying that some of them succeeded. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, okay. I see what you're trying to say. Yeah, the way you were saying it before made me think you were saying some large section of. I don't
know how large it is. All I know is that in HFN1, Dazbog gets sent to go deal with it, and all they say is we dealt with it. There's no actual evidence of the recording, like in every other data stream. Then in 2, you see Veles run into them, and they have to immolate in order to save themselves. Then in 3,
well, because what happened on the second?
Hold on. Yeah, there's corruption. So like if
what happened is Sancha boarded the ship.
Yes. So if what happened in 2 happened in 1, and they gave a false report, then that group would now be corrupted. Then in 3, you see that there's a pylon that's corrupted, and once again they send the Dazbog subclade to the Svarog clade, who once again simply say it's done. Right?
Maybe this is just to say Svarog is really good with dealing with these things.
It's possible, but then later on it says the Special Operations Troika for the extirpation of corrupted Neurotnia from Dazbog subclade to Svarog clade, which either means that the members of the Special Operations Troika specifically came from the Dazbog subclade, or
they assembled Svarog from that subclade.
Or it's possible that his operation is for the extirpation of corrupted Neurotnia from the Dazbog subclade to Svarog clade. That is a way of interpreting that sentence.
So then, I'd like to say that my preferred way of reading that is that Dazbog and Svarog in general has done well in handling these things.
No one of these
and
points.
Svarog is being,
No one of these
you know.
points is necessarily there, but like when you get into the later records, when they start talking about what's going on and why, and so they say, okay, well, the Sancha is very similar to the like some other things, so we're going to look into it, and they do an examination of how they dealt with the sleepers when this corruption happened before, and they saw that the way that they dealt with it was, it specifically says, where is it?
I think it's in 5.
I think
Yes.
it's in 5. Yeah. It says,
Second paragraph.
resolution, recorded total extirpation of polity within program of integrity checking and immolation for contacts. And then that immediately turns around and basically says, and that translates into Special Operations Troika Command. But what they're comparing it to was when some of their own people were corrupted by sleepers.
Well,
by this relationship. And so it implies there's a through line the whole way that there is a corruption that, and then
that
again,
that needs to be taken
specifically, he's being told to purge the corruption. Purge from what? Achieve integrity. Achieve integrity with who? And insist the immolation of the perverse.
I mean, yeah.
Right, but go back.
Stuff is able to fuck with Triglavian stuff, and
right.
Svarog's job is to remove any time that happens, pretty much. And obviously, you can't catch them all.
But these are people.
But its job is to take care of this.
These are people, not just things. Purge corruption.
Well, yes, I know.
So
corruption is the Narodnia getting hijacked by Sancha, pretty much.
So they saw that what they needed to do was total extirpation of polity, an integrity checking, and immolation for contacts, which goes directly to purge corruption, achieve integrity, insist on immolation. So what Krezhnik is assigned to do, exactly. Krezhnik's job is to root out and hunt and purge any and all corruption of Sancha's influences within the Triglavian collective, specifically.
Exactly, yeah.
But it seems to be specifically happening to Svarog Clade. Mostly.
I don't see that things are saying it's only happening to Svarog. I think it's everywhere at all, because it's possible anywhere.
Well, I think that because
I see where you're coming from all of the other things, and that, and I actually totally agree. I just don't think Svarog is the one being solely having the problems. You know, I think they just assembled it.
It's possible
because they're good at dealing with it.
That's possible. I mean, I'm not opposed to that, like it being spread outside of Svarog, but I think that actually this was a relatively small, potentially small group of corruption that caused them to freak out so much. But either way, it represented like an existential threat that everything else didn't represent, right?
Yeah, like, where military stuff is different from things that actually mess with people themselves. Exactly.
I like all the sort of the Triglavian internal stuff that we get to see. It's nice.
Yes, I enjoy that a lot.
But I still wonder about that first fucking cruiser, man.
So
why that was had come out or whatever, and why DED was able to get a hold of it.
Well, the connection to the time base experiment is probably the best one.
Yeah, the DED was aware of the Trigs at that point and was finding a way to get them. Pretty much.
Yeah, I believe that it's possible that the Triglavians had been filamenting for some time, using the rogue drone filaments, because even before that, the rogue drone swarm that kidnapped the SOE girl, CSP Delegate Zero confirmed that was a Triglavian rogue swarm.
Yes, exactly. That was exactly what the thing with the Trigs. The use that the Trigs found for rogue drones was that they could straight up have Navka controlling them and stuff and using them for things also.
Again,
in addition to perhaps whatever you've suggested too about the filament stuff. But
yes.
It was the Triglavians taking that Sisters of Eve person.
I love the idea of the Triglavians in Abyssal Dead Space using the rogue drones within our part of our galaxy, like as a sort of analogy for a dev using NPCs in the game.
I think that
this also
I think that
what the drones have anything to do with Trigs. It's just
no.
Their own little
and that goes back into the reports, which is that they specifically said that some of the rogue drones are vermin, some of them are corrupted, and there is a corruption within the rogue drone hives themselves. That's something that we don't talk about a lot. That's the Villa Autopoiesis. So
isn't Autopoiesis just
that's their replication process, right?
Yeah.
But think about the last message. But what about the last message though? It says
Which one is this in? Let me see.
DAV.
Yeah, which one?
Corruptive threats to Villa Autopoiesis. So when Zoria is doing her analysis of things, she says,
is this DAV5?
DAV5 and 6. Well, 6 was is where that last message was.
Let me read
But,
that then. Yeah. Yeah, the DAV, the 6 entries are always like the final report.
In
things,
5,
this is what the thing we're gonna do is. Yeah.
In 5, it gets a report. Reverse time discourse element. Organizing principles place highly active archive pattern analysis, indicating upper ranges of autonomy for distributed artificial entities. Threat of corruption.
Some of the rogue drones are smart.
Threat of corruption of Villa Autopoiesis. So
Yes.
not only do they require
their-
the hives to submit themselves to the Nafka to be acceptable, but the Triglavians seem to be concerned specifically about a corruption potentially within the hive itself. An infection could come into the autopoiesis and therefore corrupt the hive.
I'm not quite sure that the word corruption here is referring to it in the same way it does with the Sancha stuff at the same time.
I think that that's the drifter. I think that's the others' control over the rogue drones.
It's not a bad thing to say there. Yeah.
I think that's them witnessing the
If
drifters.
the other had
the other.
rogue drones it was using before.
Exactly.
To build up Isogen 5 caches.
And that's why they see like
it would have used up.
a wide range of autonomy and a wide, array of behavior. There are some enlightened rogue drones, and some of them, and the other seems to be continuing to try to infect some of the rogue drones, which is why you have one of the words that stands out to me is the word unshackled, because the unshackled overmind, the word unshackled only really shows up in relationship to the drifters, which are in a unshackled and forbidden dominance arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the fuck that means.
These AIs being in control of things when they should not be.
Assuming direct control.
Yeah, we don't actually know what they mean by forbidden dominance arrangement or what unshackled has to do with it. We just know that they really don't like it, and
I take that as their interpretation of the others.
Well, they don't fully understand the other. Yeah, but that's my point.
It's not
yes,
said that they don't know what they are.
It's clearly them looking at the situation and not liking it. But what part of it that they don't like is the part of it that I don't quite understand. Like, what does it mean for the rogue drones to be unshackled?
Yeah.
Is unshackled literally just mean under the control of the other?
Not under the control of something.
Well, but not under the control of something might be under the control of the other.
What do you have for the rogue drones, the different groups that were created with that? If you look at the rogue drone faction, you get 2 of them, which are the infested region ones and the unshackled ones. But then you also have the Navka overminds, and then you also have the Scylla and Charybdis infestations.
Yeah, those are very interesting too.
Yes.
Because
they're both classified also under the same stuff as well, especially with those names,
Mm-hmm.
Obviously it's drifter. Obviously those ones are drifter related, given that Charybdis and Scylla are also the same ones you have in Abyss.
But it's worth noting that those hives have never been seen.
Yes, they have not, and also they've been removed from the.
Yeah, they're actually not there anymore, so maybe they're not there.
Yeah.
This actually reminds me. There was a very short period of time that PKN.
They're still in the game. You can search them up.
PKN
when that had that.
PKN was a member corporation of the Drifters.
Yes, they did that by mistake.
So get your conspiracy hat on.
I always thought that was funny when they did that.
Well, it has been a wonderful chat with you guys. I'm gonna head off now.
All right. I'll talk to you later. It's nice hanging out.
Yeah, have a good one. I'm gonna figure out somebody to raid and get out of here as well.
Good night, all. It has been a pleasure to listen to you talk about these topics.
It's always fun to rant about it. So
we're going to be doing more soon. Magic Jack, thank you so much for that.
Bye-bye.
Sub, you get all of the corporations involved in the Liberation games. All of the tribes, the 7 tribes of the Matari, as well as some of the most favorites, the Convocation of Empyreans, the Flying Pod, Aeron Robotics, Triglavian Collective, Edencom, the 3 Triglavian Clades. So thank you so much for that support. Big old 07 to you. 07's in chat. Send out all of the 07s. I was going to raid...
I'll probably hop off as well in a few so I can make some dinner and stuff.
Contempo is
Are you
on.
still there, Ash?
I am, but I'm doing my shtick at the end of the stream. I was trying to figure out who to raid. Hold on. Why, what's up?
No, I was just saying I'm probably gonna hop off in a couple.
All right.
Dinner and stuff.
Yeah. Have a good one. Let me know whenever you want to come on and we can do a show.
I will. Yes, I keep saying I will, and I'm just really bad at making
Hey,
things happen.
Hey, you and me both, brother. Have a good one.
I get you there.
All right.
Good night.
Yeah.
Talk to you later.
All right, we are going to raid Contempo. Thanks for the suggestion, Recon. I've been Ashtarothi. I've been playing this game since 2010, talking about it since 2012, and I'm here to put even into context for you, my fellow Empyreans. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for hanging out. This has been pretty cool. I'm going to use this footage for later videos. If you got here late and you missed the actual fleet, it'll be on YouTube within 24 hours. I'll have to go over there and put the other stuff active. If you want to support this and you like what I do, this is how I keep a roof over my head and eat food. So go ahead and you can always sub or donate bits, all that kind of good stuff. But even if you don't have any of that or whatever, just go on over, check out my YouTube and follow, sub, whatever, watch my videos there as well. I need to feed the algorithm god so that way people like to get recommended my stuff. In addition to that, we also have I am an independent game developer, so I made a little game called Playton. It's totally free on itch.io. It's based on a game called Zoop from back in the day. I had a good time making it, and if enough people like it, I have some other work that I'd like to get done on it. Yeah, I'm going to be working on some more stuff with like videos and other stuff like that. We got War next week. It is the Federation. We're going to be doing a big push back to the Galente Federation. So especially if you're EU time zone, but otherwise anybody who wants to, Galente Militia is going to be recruiting, and we're going to be starting a big pushback starting next week. I'm looking to get as many people as possible into our fleets and out there getting stuff done to save the war zone once again. Otherwise, I have Patreons to talk about. Maybe. I'd like to thank my Patreons for all of their support. Oh, screw it. I can't pull it up. I was supposed to have it pulled up ahead of time, and I didn't. Also, down below, there is links to Amazon. You can pick up all kinds of stuff, including you can get Templar 1 or the Empires of Eve books on Audible. And you can get any of the other like books or Plex and all that kind of stuff with links down below. And I get some sort of small kickback for that, which is pretty cool. Let's see. Anything else? I do still plan on doing my subathon soon, but I need to make sure to get all of my logistics and things worked out. I know I keep missing the Tuesday and Friday show, or the Wednesday and Friday show. In particular, I want my Friday show to be a YouTube show because it always frustrates me that I go on a stream and I talk to people about it really quick here, but like nobody comes and sees it yet because it's like I'm in and out really quick on Friday, and then I can't post it on YouTube for 24 hours. So I'm going to have to rethink how I do my Friday show. I'm not liking it at all. The Wednesday show is good, and we'll probably be targeting more EU. I continue to develop this channel, guys, and I am looking for help if anybody wants to come help me make videos or other content for people. Convocation of Empyreans is recruiting, and so is my show, Eve Universe. But all that said, thank you all for coming. I've been Ashtarothi. Until next time, I'll see you in space.
Bring on the wrecking machine. every city.